Life happens everywhere. Like it never even happened, only happens here. The cleanup and restoration specialists at 1-800-SERVPRO and servpro.com.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real-world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Welcome to Sliced Pizza Bar, where we're passionate about great pizza. All of our food is made fresh daily using only the finest ingredients and techniques. Our chefs put their heart and soul into each pie, and we're sure you'll taste the difference. Located on both the Indian Rocks and Madeira beaches, chances are we're right around the corner for your next pizza night or dinner date. Come give us a try and experience the slice difference.
Every day in business starts with a number. Output, productivity, efficiency, all measured in numbers, because data drives decisions. And if fire or water damage strikes, the numbers for your business can slow, or even stop. Unless you know this one, 1-800-SERVPRO, the #1 choice in commercial cleanup and restoration.
Hello everyone, welcome live to 3 Wide TV and tonight's running of the American Regardless Championship Finale 200, where we will crown tonight's Hacksaw PC's Premier Cup Series champion. This series started all the way back on February 11th of this season, and I'll tell you what, it has been an absolute stellar year, and tonight we'll finally figure out who is going to pick up that Hacksaw PC crown. I'm Peter Short, and joining me in the booth here tonight is none other than Greg Rentz. but we have 4 drivers competing for the points title. And as you can see coming into tonight, Greg Evans in the number 2 machine has an absolute huge advantage over Adam Jersky, John Jenkins, and Jimmy McKee. We're going to get a quick word with all of those drivers here tonight. And let's see if we can get a quick word with the man who comes into tonight as the points leader, Greg Evans. Greg, absolute stellar night, or stellar season for you, I should say. 11 wins on the year. Coming into tonight, 28-point advantage. Tell the fans how that point advantage is going to kind of steer your night in one direction or another.
Yeah, we've had a really good season, especially the last 3 weeks. So tonight, we got to make sure we finish the race, have a good clean night. Hopefully we'll just have a good clean night and be talking to you guys after 200 laps here. Yeah,
definitely a long race here tonight. 200 laps around Phoenix. With that points advantage, are you thinking of taking it easy tonight, or is it you're gonna still go for the win?
Honestly, I think we're just going to kind of play it by ear. I definitely want to start up front, have a good qualifying. I'd like to go ahead and lead a lap early. We've always been aggressive all year long, but like I said last week after Martinsville, we've definitely got to play it safe tonight. So if we're in a not ideal situation, we're definitely going to play it safe this evening.
All right. Well, Greg, we're going to let you get to it. Best of luck here tonight, and maybe you'll be able to pick up win number 12 and that Hacksaw PC trophy. Best of luck there, bud.
Guys, y'all have a good night.
All right, folks, that was the points leader coming into tonight, Greg Evans, and I believe that Mr. Greg Rentz, another Greg, has caught up with the man of the cheesecakes, Adam Jersky.
And Adam Jersky in the number 69 coming into tonight. You need a big race. 5th in practice here at Phoenix, though. So doing what you got to do to get yourself ready with a fast car here tonight so far. What do you think your chances are here heading into the 200-lap season finale?
Well, I'm just looking at the number of cars we have here, and it's I think we have 25 here, so it's gonna. I don't know if the math exactly works out in our favor to have it be mathematically possible, but just gotta get out there and drive hard and get the win. That's what we gotta do. Try and lead all the laps. Haven't exactly been close to that this year, but Phoenix has been an all right track for me. So, all I need is a chance, and that's what I'm gonna go with. Just drive hard and see what the racing gods have in store for me.
And Adam, a 5th place in practice right now, 2nd fastest of the playoff drivers behind only Greg Evans right now. So you've got speed in the number 69, but let's talk a little bit about this playoff push that you put together to get into this championship round, because that round of 8, you put together one of the most consistent 3 races we've seen ever in the ASRS and ever on 3Y TV, to be able to put yourself in position to be in the championship hunt. Tell us about those 3 races that you were able to throw together to get yourself into this picture.
Well, those races, those were some of the hardest racing I ever had to do since I've been on iRacing. It wasn't easy. The competition's really hard, and while we haven't I haven't had the speed to be up in the top 3 cars week in and week out. I feel like I've had enough speed to be in positions to get the breaks that I've had, where cautions fell right and accidents were happened in front of us in our favor, and that was the key thing. But it's always been just keeping myself in a position to where I could capitalize on other people's mistakes and problems that they had. Bristol was huge. Getting that 2nd place finish, had a lot of luck in that race, I have to admit. But it's just been the consistency that I've had really all year. Just being able to just kind of rattle off top 10s, top 12s, really from probably the first half. I would say I really started getting into a consistent rhythm and just keeping that up, and then really stepping it up in the playoffs. It's really been the key.
Well, Adam, your final race here tonight. We're going to let you go get ready for 200 laps of Phoenix to try to steal this one away. And good luck the rest of the way. And maybe if things go your way, we'll be talking to you after 200 laps. Good luck tonight.
Yep, sounds good, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, well, that's gonna. Oh, sorry to cut you off there, Greg. But that's gonna do it with the number 69 of Adam Dursky. We'll let him get back to his team. Let's see if we can dial up Jimmy McKee, one of the other drivers who's in the playoff picture. Jimmy McKee, Peter Short here in the 3Y TV booth. You got a copy?
Yes.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. Congratulations on making it into the final round and into tonight with an outside shot. 35 points you're going to have to make up on Greg Evans here tonight, and pretty much it's going to have to be a win for you to get to the door of Greg Evans, and Evans has to have a bad night. But I'll tell you what, all things considered, you made it into this final round. You still have an outside shot. How has this season gone for you? I mean, definitely, has it exceeded your expectations, or is this where you wanted to be? Is this where you thought you were going to be at the beginning of the season?
Yeah, I didn't think I'd make it into the Final Four, to be honest. Had such a rough start to the beginning of the year, and then just, started clicking off some decent runs there at the end when we needed to. But yeah, when we started the playoffs, we were able to get some good runs going and able to make it. Like I said, I thought we would probably only made it to the final 8, but I'll take top 4. It's been fun. It's been competitive. So it's going to be probably a little too hard to get Greg. That's for sure. So I'm optimistic, but I think the best I can do is get up to second.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you can get up to second place is no joke. Still a pretty big cash prize on the line here for that second position. And you're battling with John Jenkins in the 7, as well as the 69 of Adam Jersky. What's your game plan here tonight?
Just try to keep the wheels going forward. These cars are loose, so it's going to be a tough race. So hopefully it tightens up a little bit, kind of in the middle of the run and to the end of the run. But we're just gonna race as we can, try to get a W. Been trying to get a win here for the last couple of years, so hopefully tonight will be the night.
Yeah, absolutely. Got to say, best of luck for you here tonight, Jimmy. I know the number 2 of Evans might just be a little bit out of reach, but definitely second place not out of reach. And like I mentioned, pretty good cash prize as well for the runner-up position in the series. Best of luck here tonight.
I couldn't really hear you at the end there. Sam's talking, so I got both of you guys going at the same time. Can you repeat what you said?
Can I even talk over Sam? Isn't that sacrilegious to talk over Sam Maxwell in that number 98 machine? But what I said is, best of luck here tonight, and hopefully we'll get to talk to you after the race as well.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, hopefully we'll be top 3, but I would love to get that win.
All right, well, folks, that is Jimmy McKee here tonight, and we'll let him get back to his group. And I'll tell you what, Greg, definitely a fantastic season. I've enjoyed every single lap, and definitely there's been a lot of memorable races this season. Doesn't seem like John Jenkins in the number 7 machine, who is one of your championship contenders, doesn't look like he will be able to have a pre-race interview, so maybe we'll be able to get him after everything is all said and done. But definitely been a fantastic season, Greg. Lots of memorable races, and I'm looking forward to another memorable one here tonight.
I'm very much excited for this one, Peter. We're going to see the Real Life Championship end here this Sunday at ISM Raceway. Well, it's ISM on here, Phoenix Raceway in real life. Let's take a look at how we got here, Peter. This on your screen right now, last week's race results from the... I'm sorry, I completely drew.
It was Martinsville.
We're last week. Martinsville. That's what happens when you have too many races in a week. Martinsville.
Remember we
last week.
We had all those hot dogs.
Oh yeah, that's right. I gorged myself on hot dogs. That's why I missed the start of the race. Had to eat the hot dogs and burn off all of those calories. That's right. For some reason, I thought that was a couple of weeks ago. Lost track of time. But anyway, Greg Evans picking up win number 11 on the season. And also, like our producer says in our ear, it's 2020 still. Greg Evans picked up the win. How about the finish for Woody Mahan coming home in second last week, I should say. Did a fantastic job. Still looking for that breakthrough win. He could play spoiler in the win count here at Phoenix. Alan Young, Tyler Seville, third and fourth. Jason Stewart, fifth. How about the Cheesecake Man, Adam Jersky, into number 69. Got a top 10 in that one to get himself in striking distance if something can happen here tonight. Brian Yazik, Jordan Harnish, AJ Digby, and Michael Whiting had a nice run to round out the top 10. And you see there on the bottom, Greg Evans did lead the most laps, 109 of them.
And of course, the key storyline last week at Martinsville was John Jenkins. He was on a complete roll a couple of races back. He'd won 2 races in a row, Talladega and Rockingham. He started off this round of the playoffs actually getting that win at Rockingham. So he won on the board, but then the rails fell off at Texas Motor Speedway and then Martinsville last week. He finished in 19th 2 weeks in a row, and that is why John Jenkins is now sitting third in points. A lot of markers back behind Greg Evans in the number 2 duct tape Chevrolet here tonight. So keep an eye on the number 7 of Jenkins as he tries to have a little bit of a rebound night here tonight, trying to finish off the 2020 Hacksaw PC's Premier Cup Series championship season with a strong run here at Phoenix. But just about 17 seconds left until we go over to the Midwest Simulations pole qualifying. Very much looking forward to who is going to pick up the Midwest Simulations pole qualifying, because whoever picks up that pole is going to have a pretty big advantage here at this racetrack. This is not an easy racetrack to pass at, Greg. It races like a short track, a lot of hard braking. Of course, we're running an open dog leg here for the first time since 2015 in the American Sim Racing Series Premier Cup Series. So we're going to be keeping an eye on that here all night long, Greg. Definitely going to be a good one here as we go over into the Midwest Simulations pole qualifying shootout.
Yeah, here we go, setting up the finale here at the Phoenix International Raceway, like you mentioned, with an open dogleg. And you saw on screen while we were interviewing some of our championship drivers just how close to the wall these drivers were getting as cars rolling out onto the track to begin their qualifying effort. That's number 27 of Pete Baskins coming out onto the racetrack to begin qualifying for the Hacksaw PC's Premier Series Championship race here at Phoenix, Arizona, the Arizona desert, trying to get a preview of what we're going to see in real life on NBC on Sunday. Baskins among several of the drivers going out. There's Michael Whiting, the 44, got a top 10 last week, looking to finish it off with 2 in a row. There's Woody Mahan, second place. Peter, as they roll around to begin their qualifying efforts, let's see if we can go on board with one of these drivers. And Peter, you mentioned it on Thursday, your first ever Cup win back in the NR 2003 days came at this track. Woody Mahan struggling there off turn 4. Peter, take us for a lap around here.
Yeah, I absolutely love this racetrack. I loved it back in NASCAR Racing 2003 season, and I love it here in iRacing. We're riding on board right now with the number 18 of Mullins as he comes out of turn number 4. You have to watch for that wall. It comes at you very, very quickly right there out of turn number 4. Heavy on the brakes here down into turn number 1. You want to be right down there on the yellow line. Smash the gas. Let the car ride up right here. Now you're going to want to drop down below the yellow line. We'll see that in qualifying mostly. We'll also see it in the race before you get on the brakes once again for turn number 3 and 4. Turn number 3 and 4, very, very important on the brakes. Same thing with turn number 1, but turn number 3 and 4, you can really trail brake through turn number 3 and 4. Try and get that rear end to rotate, move that brake bias backwards just a little bit to try and get the car loosened up on entry. And really, there's kind of 2 strategies to turn number 3 and 4. One strategy is just roll the bottom as much as you can. What I like to do is, depending on how the car is driving, I like to actually go below that yellow line just a little bit right at the apex of turn number 3 and 4 to try and get the car loosened up, de-wedged a little bit. And I'll tell you what, that number 69 machine, whatever he did, he came out of turn number 4 the first time we saw him get wicked loose. He actually ground the car to a halt before putting in his lap time. So he was able to take a tow back to pit road, didn't count that first lap, which then only gives him 1 lap. But on his 1 lap that he did get at time, the Beef Jersky's Cheesecake, number 69 of Adam Jersky, currently atop the leaderboard, but we've only had 9 cars to take time as the number 24 right there, Alan Young, out there on the racetrack there, Greg.
Peter, sorry to cut you off, but we just had a huge development on pit road. Points leader Greg Evans fell out of the session. Connection issues on the number 2. He is loading back into the session right now. It does say he has connected, but that is huge. Greg Evans, the points leader on championship night, having connection issues. He is reconnected to the session, but we'll see if he can make it out in time to post a lap. If not, this championship quest just got a whole lot more difficult for the number 2. We'll keep an eye out for Greg Evans. Who was that hitting the wall? Was that Jenkins?
That's John Jenkins in the number 7 Super Clean Toyota. And remember, he's one of those drivers here trying to get a championship here tonight. There's the number 8 of McKee. And one thing that we noticed, Greg, was that the 7 of Jenkins, he was hustling to get into the server. He was one of the late additions. We weren't able to get him for a pre-race interview because of that. But that number 7, we've heard from a couple of drivers that this racetrack right now, very, very slick and slippery, and it looked like it caught out the Super Clean number 7. We'll get to see if he has another lap. Looks like he is going to have another lap in the number 7 machine, but looks like he's loosey-goosey. We're riding on board with the number 8 machine.
Sorry, Peter. Greg Evans rolling out now in the number 2, so he is going to make it, as you said, on board with McKee.
Yeah, McKee here. We'll see where he goes. Doesn't look like he's put a time in that number 8 machine just yet. Oh, there we go. Finally coming up there on the leaderboard. Gonna slot into 6th. And here comes Greg Evans, the number 2 machine. He's been fast all season long. 11 wins to his name. Every single time that number 2 rolls off the truck, he is a force to be reckoned with, whether it's a road course, short track, super speedway, intermediate racetrack. Right there, Greg Evans has proven to the competition that he is worthy of winning the championship. Trying to pick that up here tonight is look at Jimmy McKee. He's going to go 3rd on the board. How about that from the number 8 McKee Lawn Care Services Chevrolet? John Jenkins also able to pick it up after having that first timed lap mishap to go up into the top 6 now, as Jenkins now rides in 6th. And Greg Evans, folks, like I've been mentioning, he has been fast every single time he's rolled off the truck. And Greg, new man atop the leaderboard. Right there, Greg Evans.
With the connection issues and all, Evans still able to get on top of the board. Goes second lap quicker, 29.695. Peter, he is 0.2 faster than second quick Adam Jersky in that number 69. As of now, all 4 championship contenders in the top 6. Evans first, Jersky second, McKee 4th, Jenkins 6th. How about Troy Haight up there in 3rd in the number 28? He is up in the top 5 right now. Nice qualifying run for Troy Haight.
Yeah, absolutely. Troy Haight right there in 3rd. Definitely, we've seen some good pace out of Troy Haight at various times this season. I think this is a racetrack that actually suits Troy Haight's driving style in the number 28 P&N water filter Chevrolet. So definitely gonna put a quick time in here in qualifying. Look at John Jenkins. He's out there running some practice laps here as we now have under 4 minutes left in the Midwest Simulations pole qualifying. Let's give a shout out to Midwest Simulations here tonight. Their sponsor, Spotlights. You'll find it on the back of Michael Crowbox number 72. Make sure you check out Spotlights, a very, very cool spotting system for the iRacing service. If you're one of these people out here who wants all the trinkets for iRacing, Spotlights is a very, very cool one that you can add to your sim rig, or whether you're just like me and kind of just have a desk, you can add it to that too. So Spotlight's very, very cool out of Midwest Simulations, and make sure to check them out here while this session continues to wrap up. Also, big shout out to the season sponsor, Hacksaw PCs, because Greg alluded to it earlier, but the winner of the 2020 Hacksaw PC's Premier Cup Series champion is going to walk away with a brand new PC after this race here tonight. That is huge. I'd love a new PC.
Remember, he also locked up the Surf Pro Wheelman Showdown. He got the new wheel from Sam Maxwell. Sam Maxwell. Sam Maxwell Customs in the wheel, and could lock up a Hacksaw PC here tonight if he can pull this off. That's almost an entire new sim rig right there if Greg Evans can pull off both.
Yeah, definitely speaking to the prizes that this series has put together. Also, a lot of cash prizes on the line for not only the runner-up, but a lot of the field as well. So definitely, I think there's a payout all the way back to about the 20th position, and some of those drivers back around 20th position actually have the opportunity to use their cash winnings towards next season's championship, because there is, of course, a small entry fee here in the American Sim Racing Series. And in fact, speaking of next season, Greg, next season's schedule was announced in the ASRS. And it's going to be a lot of fun next year. We're going to be going to tracks like Rockingham, among a lot of other tracks. Nashville, I believe, is in there. We're going to go into Indianapolis, not the road course. Definitely going to be a really, really fun 2021 Hacksaw PC Premier Cup Series Championship here in the American Sim Racing Series.
Yeah, looking forward to being a part of that whenever I can, Peter, because unfortunately the series, for me at least, fortunately for the ASRS series, because this is going to be a big boost to them, they're moving to Wednesday nights next year. But unfortunately for me, my real life home track races on Wednesday nights, so I'm not going to be able to be here for every Hacksaw PC's Premier Series race like I was this year, just about. But I'm not going to be able to be a part of it as much next year, so I'm bummed out that I'm not going to be able to see every race this upcoming season. It's Clarence Bonner with a big slide in the number 99, but definitely big news also with that schedule coming out. Not just that we're headed to some of those new tracks, they're also moving to Wednesday nights next year.
Yeah, that is very, very true. And of course, I know a lot of the drivers here are probably not too excited about going to Circuit of the Americas, which is going to be a timed event for next season. I personally am. That is my home racetrack. I know the ins and outs of COTA. I've been there many, many times. I love racing at COTA, unlike a lot of people. I think it's just a driver's taste on that racetrack. But it's definitely going to be a lot of fun to see these big cup cars wheel their way around the Circuit of Americas here next season. But only about 15 seconds left here in the Midwest Simulations Bowl qualifying shootout. And it does look like Greg Evans, the man who comes into tonight with a huge points advantage and trying to lock up that series championship, looks like he is going to walk away with that Midwest Simulations Pole Award. Once again, Greg, loading off the truck, lightning quick in the number 2 duct tape Chevrolet.
So much speed in the number 2 here tonight, Peter, and that is exactly what he needs to do. Just go out, run clean, and get there for a shot at a championship. Fortunately for Greg Evans in that number 2, that comes with the connection issues. So that's a good sign that he was able to shake those off and go out and get quick time by 0.2 of a second. So some good omens and some bad omens already for Greg Evans. Wonder his final thoughts here heading into the grid for this championship race.
Absolutely. Let's see if we can go down to tonight's starting lineup for the American Regardless Championship Finale 200. Make sure you guys check out American Regardless. I don't want to go any further without giving them a huge shout out. American Regardless, make sure you Google them, AmericanRegardless.com. They make American-made clothing by an American patriot, a man who has a war veteran. Definitely a fantastic partner here in the American Sim Racing Series all season long. They've sponsored a couple of races, and great to have them on board here for tonight's championship finale. On the pole, the number 2, Greg Evans, once again trying to pick up win number 12 here tonight, and alongside of him, one of the other drivers trying to pick up a championship. But a lot's going to have to go right for Adam Jersky, and a lot's going to have to go wrong for the man beside him on row number 1. On row number 2 on the inside is the number 28 of Troy Haight. Great qualifying run from the PNN Water Filter Chevrolet right there. And to his outside, another one of those drivers who is on the outside looking to really have a good night. And again, crossing his fingers that it's a bad night for the number 2 of Greg Evans, Jimmy McKee, starting in 4th. On the inside of row number 3 will be the number 18 of Doug Mullins in the Slice Porcupine Chevrolet. And to his outside, John Jenkins, the 4th of the 4 championship contenders here tonight. In the number 7 Super Clean Toyota, he was able to shake off those troubles on his first qualifying lap, and on lap number 2, get himself up inside the top 6. On the inside of row number 4 is the number 14 of AJ Digby with Grant Brown and the number 52 starting alongside him. And then on row number 5 on the inside, the 24 of Alan Young and the 84 of Woody Mahan. There they are, rounding out your top 10. That Mahan Speed Laboratories machine was fast last week at Martinsville. Will he be fast again here tonight, Greg?
We're going to find the teammates Adam Jersky, Jordan Harnish rolling off 11th, and the number 32 with Pete Baskins to his outside. Will Worsler going to roll off in the 13th position with Jason Stewart, 2 drivers who made the playoffs, unfortunately didn't make it through to the finals. Alex Giese and Michael Whiting round out the drivers that qualified. Only 16 drivers took time here tonight, Peter, and including the drivers that are starting at the tail end on provisionals will be Brian Yazik and Michael Krobach, the team at Loud Pedal teammates with HPP Simulations on board. Tyler Seville and Mark Myers rounding out the top 20.
Yep, pace car going to head down pit road. The race is going to be underway here very shortly. There is the green flag, and the American Regardless Championship Finale 200 at the Phoenix International Raceway is underway with Greg Evans, the man who has a stranglehold on the championship, leading the way off into turn number 1 over the number 69 of Adam Jersky, who comes into tonight's 2nd place in points, trying his darndest to get the championship and wrestle it away from that man right in front of him. But coming out of turn number 3, it looks like Greg Evans, he said he wanted to lead a lap early. Well, how about lap number 1? Greg Evans going to lead here, and that could be very important by picking up any type of bonus point for leading a lap. Jersky going to slot into 2nd. Jimmy McKee up into 3rd. Troy Haight, he's now fallen, back to 4th position. And John Jenkins, he's picked up a spot as well. He has gone from 6th up to 5th. And now he is on the back bumper of Troy Haight. And Greg, wouldn't that be crazy if our top 4 drivers in points run 1, 2, 3, 4? I think it's about to happen because a little bit of a wiggle out of Troy Haight coming out of turn number 4. And Jenkins has a run underneath that 28 machine.
Couldn't write a better start to this race for your 4 playoff drivers than for them to be 1, 2, 3, 4 contact in the back. We were on board there with AJ Digby in the number 14. As we may take a look at the 3YTV replay. What happened here, Peter? Early contact.
Yeah, it looks like the number 52 of Grant Brown had a big wiggle. Watch this wiggle out the back of that number 52 right there, and they shot right up the racetrack into the number 14 of AJ Digby. Nowhere for Digby to go. Just could not check up in time. We're going to see that a lot here tonight, folks, with how slippery this racetrack is. We're hearing that you can go just about 80 laps on fuel, but I don't expect to see these drivers really stretch it out that far. They do have a lot of extra sets of tires sitting on pit road here tonight. I believe 3 sets of tires on the pit road, which is more than what you typically see in the American Series. Whoa, was that someone in a blue car going around back there? Looks like it is. And right there, Michael Krobach, the number 72 machine, it looked like he might have just looped it coming out of turn number 4. Of course, he is your champion in the truck series, and he's actually leading the Grand National Point Series as well here in the American Sim Racing Series. And there's that replay. And Greg, Phoenix striking early.
Well, remember last week in Martinsville, Michael Krobach, we gave him in the crash cam because of how many times he dodged the incidents in Martinsville. Unfortunately, not the same start here tonight as he just breaks loose off of turn 4 and hits the inside wall a ton in that number 72. Now, here's the problem, Peter. No fast repairs in this series, so Krobach, he's going to have to nurse that damage the rest of the day.
Yeah, that could be absolutely huge for Michael Krobach. Let's jump over to the chat here. We have a lot of people here tonight. Sizzle Nation right there in the chat. Mod Chaser, Mitch, Madge Brown, the DMLC Racing channel in the chat as well. I hope you guys are having a good night and enjoying this final round. Christopher Bouchard also rooting on the Momentum Sim Racing teammate. That'd be the number 7 of John Jenkins. Looks like AJ Digby, the number 14. After that damage with the number 52, he'll be the first taker on pit road here as we continue under caution. First caution flag here tonight in the garage already. The number 99 at Clarence Bonner and Jordan Berry, as it looks like the 52 at Grant Brown will follow Digby down. And right there at the back of the picture, that's the number 72 of Michael Krobach, the HPPSimulation.com forward. I'm sure he's going to get as much damage repaired as possible here under the first caution flag of the night. But so far, so good for that man right there, the number 2 of Greg Evans.
He's led all 6 laps that have been completed thus far. Still leading the way. We'll lead him to green here when we come back to a green flag, leading the points into tonight's race. All he needed was a nice clean night, and he will be your champion. So we will see how it unfolds right now. But Peter, we talked about it a moment ago. How about it that the top 4 on track. Well, it was so a moment ago. Jimmy McKee just cranked the left turn onto pit road. Nope, fake out. I thought I saw McKee coming down pit road into number 8. So they are all still in the top 4. But Jimmy McKee may be playing some mind games right now with the other drivers.
With how important I'm hearing that tires are here tonight, it might be an interesting strategy here to get off strategy, if you will, just a little bit. And, they do have tire limits here in the American Sim Racing Series, and I'm sure some of these drivers will be keeping that in mind all night long. But definitely going to be a fun one. And I've really enjoyed that element this season, Greg. I know we've talked about it a couple times here on these broadcasts, that adding that extra element of the limited sets of tires has led to a few very unpredictable races, made it both very fun to watch, but also very fun to call from up here in the 3Y TV booth.
It really has been. We've seen several races come down to tire strategy here in the series, and it makes it so much fun and makes it unpredictable. Hey, we don't even know what's going to happen. We're watching along with the fans, just as excited as they are watching these races unfold. Could it happen tonight? We'll see.
Absolutely. Mitch Brown in the chat, of course, the reigning Premier Cup Series champion here. Of course, he will be giving up that crown here tonight. Says, after tonight, focus shifts to the All-American 400. Of course, that is put on by the American Sim Racing Series as well. If you're interested in the oldest big sim event, the All-American 400 will be taking place back at the Nashville Fairgrounds, which was recently added to the iRacing service. Of course, that's where it was originally, back in the NASCAR Racing 2003 days here in the American Sim Racing Series, and even before that. And finally, that race is absolutely huge. Very much looking forward to tuning in and watching that one. A lot of these American Sim Racing Series drivers will be in it, and I know Mitch Brown will be as well. So make sure you check out the American Sim Racing Series website if you yourself want to sign up for the All-American 400 here in a couple weeks. But the pace truck has headed down pit road, and we're going to be back to green flag racing. The number 2, Greg Evans, gets us back underway, and once again, a pretty big jump from that number 2 machine. And look at the 69 of Jersky just sailing off into turn number 1. Gonna pull away from Jimmy McKee, who's to the inside of the number 7 of Jenkins. We saw Jenkins use that high line on the first start of the race to pick up a position. Can he do so here? He's to the outside of the number 8 of McKee.
McKee able to hold him off, though, and this is allowing Doug Mullins of Will Worcester Racing to get a run on the outside of Jenkins. And the caution is out for the second time here tonight. And looking for what happened. Cars around in the back. That's John Van Varelis in the number 78 going around. 3Y TV replay. What put us under the second caution?
Yeah, let's see what happened here. Racing back. Ooh, man, there was contact there with Todd Kirkwood, I think. And it was one of those long, slow, lazy spins out of that number 78 of Van Varelis. Didn't really look like he hit all too much more, so hopefully not a lot of damage on the Stavros Pizza House Chevrolet. We'll get one more look at that. We'll see. I think that was Todd Kirkwood who might have made a little bit of contact with the rear of that number 78. Not 100% sure if Todd Kirkwood was just kind of pushing it a little bit deeper into the corner, or whether or not he was using one of those different strategies that I talked about a little bit ago in turn number 3 and 4. You can either push it in deeply, you can kind of roll the corner, or you can kind of diamond it. You can push it in really hard on the entry into turn number 3, let the car kind of wash up the racetrack, and then kind of cut back down. But unfortunately, definite contact there between Todd Kirkwood and looks like AJ Digby in the number 14. He's going to be back on pit road. You see front end damage on that 86. Michael Krobach in the number 72 HPPSimulation.com Ford. He continues to sit on pit road. He's now 2 laps down in that Ford Mustang, trying to get as much of that damage repaired as possible from the first caution flag that we had here tonight.
So already under our second caution of the day. Peter, I want to talk a little bit more about Nashville Fairgrounds and the American Sim Racing Series, because that All-American 400, that's one of 3 upcoming races for the American Sim Racing Series at Nashville. We're going to have 2 of them here on 3Y TV. These cars, the Cup cars, the Hacksaw PC's Premier Series All-Star Race, going to be coming 2 weeks from tomorrow. That's right, on a Wednesday. Coming up here on 3Y TV, the All-Star Race from Nashville Fairgrounds, and the championship race for the Boswell's Country Roads Harley-Davidson Thursday Night Throwback Series, the 1987 cars. They will have their championship race here on Thursday night, also at Nashville.
Yeah, very much looking forward to going to Nashville Fairgrounds. I absolutely love that racetrack. Definitely one of the more interesting racetracks that we go to all season long, and I really love it. I've gotten to drive it once, and really enjoyed my time on that racetrack. I've also broadcasted it once. Great race here on 3 Wide TV, so I'm looking forward to it. I really am. I do want to update the fans in the chat on the number 72 of Michael Krobach. He was able to get back onto the racetrack, but his engine quickly grenaded. Plumes of black smoke coming out the back of that number 72 machine. That is why he is now sitting on pit road all by his lonesome in that race car. So definitely not the night that Michael Krobach wanted. And I'll tell you what, Craig, with the field dwindling down, the amount of points that drivers can pick up on Greg Evans is getting fewer and fewer and fewer. Greg Evans potentially has already locked up this championship with the number of cars out there on the racetrack.
Of course, that is unofficial. We will have to wait for the official points results, but unofficially, Evans may have the title already locked up. But no doubt, Peter, he wants to go out, put an even 12 on the season and end this with a victory and make it absolutely no doubt. See if we can get some green flag racing here. We've had 2 short green flag runs here to start this race off. Drivers will be looking for a little bit of a longer run here to start this one. And we just got an update, Peter. Greg Evans has to finish 23rd or better to lock up the championship. With that, essentially, he's pretty much got it because I believe 25 drivers took the green flag tonight.
Yeah, we'll have to see with just one more car. That would be 100% confirmed. But Greg Evans going to lead us back to green once again in the duct tape Chevrolet. Huge jump again. Look at that. 3 car lengths between the number 2 and the number 69 of Adam Jersky as they dive off into turn number 1. But that side-by-side battle between Jenkins and McKee has heated up once again. We saw it under the last restart. We're seeing it again here under this one. McKee dropping down under that dog leg in the backstretch. A little bit of a wiggle out the back of that McKee Lawn Care Services number 8 machine. But looks like he is going to get it pointed in the right direction and hold on to the 4th position. 3rd position. At least for now, as Jenkins going to have to slide back in behind him. Then you have Jordan Harnish in the number 32. Big pickup from the start of the race in that number 32 machine because Harnish started in 11th here tonight, Greg, and he's now running in 5th.
Nice run for the teammate to Adam Jersky, who is also competing for a championship in that number 69, just trying to play spoiler right now. Hope something happens to Greg Evans because I believe the next car that falls out of this race would make it an official championship for Greg Evans. Just have to wait and see how it goes. Working lap number 17 right now. 2 cautions thus far in this one. Evans has led all 17 laps thus far. Jersky taking a higher line here through turns 3 and 4 as you see the battle back here for 4th between Jenkins and Harnish. Playoff drivers still 1, 2, 3, 4 right now in the early stages, but watch out for Jordan Harnish. Like we talked about just a moment ago, Peter, up 6 spots already.
Yeah, without a doubt. Definitely a hard charger as of right now. We also have Doug Mullins. He's still languishing there inside the top 10 in the 18 machine in the 6th position. Currently, he is the highest scored of the drivers from the Will Worcester Racing Team. In fact, let's highlight where Will Worcester Racing teammates are running right now. Mullins is currently in 6th, Will Worcester in 10th, Tyler Seville back there in 14th as a big wiggle out of the number 18 machine I just saw. Yeah, so definitely not the night that Will Worcester Racing Machine was exactly looking for, but still a long way here to go as we're just now closing in on the 10% mark here tonight at Phoenix.
Trying to just click laps away, get some green flag stretches in. Remember, Peter, we did have a caution-free race a couple of weeks ago at Texas where the bounty was cashed in. 20 drivers able to split a $200 bonus for going wire to wire in that win. That man, Tyler Seville, right there, picked up the victory in at Texas for his 3rd win of the season. And Peter, it was a heartbreak that Tyler Seville was not able to get into the championship for because the way he has drove over the last 3 races, you would have thought Tyler Seville would have been right up there with Evans. The way it was going had it unfolded that way for him to make the final four.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, Tyler Seville has been very, very good all season long here in the ASRS Premier Cup Series. Kind of surprising that he only has 3 wins, but you know, that's what he has to his name. I mean, we have Greg Evans, who pretty much stunk up the show, if you will, picking up 11 wins and trying to pick up win number 12 as he continues to lead here tonight. But nonetheless, Tyler Seville, fantastic season for that number 11 Slice Porcupines machine. And Will Worcester has a couple of wins to his name, including the Roval. Definitely Will Worcester has put together a strong contingency of drivers, and it won't be all too long until Doug Mullins comes in and picks up a win as well. And speaking of Doug Mullins, he's trying to get underneath of Jimmy McKee. McKee has actually slid back to 5th. He's lost a position to Jordan Harnish, and he's about to lose a position here to Doug Mullins if he's not careful.
Yeah, McKee sliding backwards into number 8. He's another one of those drivers who needed a Hail Mary to just try to get up there. He said, Peter, realistically, his goal was to try to get second tonight in that number 8, but he needed some help, and that's not going to help him as he falls back to Doug Mullins now in that number 18, trying to charge up. Mullins still looking for that first win in the Cup Series, but he does have 2 victories this season. Those came in the Throwback Series on Thursday nights. Mullins picked up 2 wins on the season there for his first 2 ASRS victories. No doubt he'll be one to keep an eye on the Premier Series next year.
And do you know where Doug Mullins comes into tonight in points in that number 18 Chevrolet? Well, he comes in the 18th position. How about that? Right where his number would place him on that race car. Kind of similar to what they used to do back in the day in Formula One. If you were the champion, you'd get number 1 for the next year. You finish second, you'd get number 2, yada, yada, yada. But Mullins, he's going to try and pick up a position from the number 34 in points. Of course, the number 34 of Kelsey Rogers not in the field here tonight. So he, unfortunately, is suspended for tonight's race due to a couple of accidents that we had back at Martinsville. There is the strike rule, Greg, and it struck a couple of drivers so far this year. Ooh, Todd Kirkwood on pit road, and was that Tyler Seville also on pit road in the number 11? We were just talking about him. Don't see any damage on that race car. Maybe getting off sequence, or maybe something's happened. Not 100% sure what's happened here to Seville.
You have to see what happened to the 11 car. Looking for a 3Y TV
Replay. See if we can get an idea of it here.
And I'm getting word that Seville has left the race. He has gone. So Tyler Seville, Slice Porcupines machine to the garage, and that will pretty much all but seal the deal for the number 2 of Greg Evans. I don't think there's enough cars out there on the racetrack that anyone will be able to run down the 2 as your series champion. Todd Kirkwood also
Kirkwood's out. That's
taken
it.
Yep.
The worst
so both of them
now is 21st.
Yep, both of those cars now in the garage, and there he is. Man, call it early, folks. But lap number 28, I think we've just figured out who your 2020 Hacksaw PC's Premier Cup Series champion is, and it is that duct tape number 2 Chevrolet. Of course, we'll have to get to the end. You never know. Something could happen. There, are points penalties for infringements and that sort of thing, but I doubt we'll have any point penalties for any type of infringement. I'm sure the 2 will be on his best behavior here tonight, but we still have a long race to go. And now the big question is, Greg, who of these drivers is going to play spoiler here tonight? Can anyone spoil Greg Evans tonight?
We will see how the race unfolds. Looking away, we're past lap 30 now for Greg Evans, who's led all of them thus far.
Trying to get up there and lock up a championship with a big victory. This will be 12 on the season. And here's the scary thing, Peter. How many times did Greg Evans finish second? How many times did he finish third? How many times did he have an incident late in the race that cost him a shot at a win? We could be talking about a 20-22 win season if everything had gone right.
Yeah, definitely. There were definitely races. I'm thinking back to Kentucky. I'm thinking back to Chicagoland. Those were 2 that definitely got away from the number 2 machine. But, all things considered, there's a lot of different things at play. There's a lot of light race cautions. There's always been that element of strategy that we talked about a little bit ago. These drivers having tire limits on pit road, only having, 2 or 3 or maybe 4 sets of tires, And we've been able to see those different strategies lead to some very fun and exciting finishes. I'm thinking about the number 14 of AJ Digby when he got his first career victory back at the Iowa Speedway. That was another one that got away from Greg Evans, with the number 14 making a little bit of a strategy call. Those races, I'm sure if you were to ask Greg Evans, are those things that are going to be in your mind at the end of this season, he's going to say no. He still walked away with a lot of those races with strong finishes, and he's a driver, smart head about him. He's going to say, you know what, you can't win them all, but as long as you come out of the day with a good points paying finish, that's what's important. As you see the number 17 of John Jenkins dive to the inside of Adam Tursky, this is a battle for the second position between two of your playoff drivers, and look who's running right behind him. And Greg, I've been so impressed with the number 32 over these last few races. Jordan Harnish has been really picking it up here at this point of the season.
Yeah, he has had a lot of speed in that number 32 moving into this final race of the season. Michael Krobach has also parked it behind the wall in the number 72. We are getting word from Race Control that unofficially Greg Evans is your 2020 Hacksaw PC's Premier Series champion. However, of course, all depends on how the points go at the end of the race. We still got to do all the mathematics to figure everything out from there. But unofficially, Greg Evans is your 2020 champion.
Yep. So definitely, what a season it has been for that number 2 machine coming into tonight with such a points advantage. We'll bring up the point standings down there at the bottom of your screen here shortly. There you see him right there. Came into tonight 28 points to the good over Adam Jersky. There are just not enough cars in the field left after the first 2 caution flags of the night for Jersky, Jenkins, or McKee to run him down in points. And not only is he now he can focus on getting the win, Greg. He doesn't have to think about the championship. I'm sure he probably hasn't even thought about it since the cars started dropping out. I don't know if he knows the permutations. We've talked to him at various points over the season. He says, you know what, I'm not worried about that stuff. It just is what it is. It falls where it falls. I'm just interested in going out there and picking up wins. But if he has even the slightest indication that he's already won the championship, he can now go out there and focus on picking up win number 12.
He wants win number 12 for sure. In that number 2, he's up 1.5 seconds over second place John Jenkins in the number 7, who's gotten around Jersky. And these two, Peter, Evans and Jenkins, they were the class of the field all season. Evans, like we said, 11 wins on the season, constantly running up in the front, was always a threat to win every race. Jenkins was Mr. Consistency. Wasn't always near the front of every single race, wasn't a contender to win every single race, but we always seemed to find him in the top 5 and the top 10 every single race. Only won 2 races in the regular season, but just barely lost the regular season championship on the last race to Evans because of how consistent he was able to keep that number 7 car throughout the course of the season. Great season for Jenkins as well. And that's not to take anything away from him. He turned it on in the playoffs. 3 wins on the playoffs for John Jenkins in the number 7. So just think also, Peter, going back to the round of 8, how many close races did he have? Twice. He was coming off turn 4 to take the white flag. A caution came out, and he did not go to victory lane on that one. How different would this be if those two had gone his way?
I mean, the number 7 of Jenkins coming into this final round was the hottest man here in the Hacksaw PC's Premier Cup Series. Like you said, there were 4 races in a row which stretched into the first race of this final round at Rockingham, where he was the leader of the race with 5 laps to go. Bristol Motor Speedway, Las Vegas was in there, Talladega, and then when we finally got to Rockingham, that number 7 was on a complete tear until that pit road speeding penalty at Texas Motor Speedway. It seemed like all the momentum that he had been building just all of a sudden disappeared. And of course, Texas Motor Speedway, that was our caution-free race, Greg. You can't make up for a pit road speeding penalty when you have a caution-free race. It's just near on impossible, especially because iRacing, man, is very, very strict.
Speaking of caution, we've got one right now. We've got a caution on track, Peter, for the 3rd time here tonight. One car off the pace. I believe it's Pete Baskins in the 27.
Yeah, that's Pete Baskins right there. And ooh, just gets a little bit too hot coming out of turn number 2 and boink off the inside wall just a little bit. He's going to get it pointed back in the right direction. And let's go on board with him here, Greg. We've heard how slippery these cars are coming out of the corner. And yep, just kind of got away from him. Man, it really snaps pretty fast. It seemed like Baskins thought that maybe he could get the car, back underneath him there a little bit. Just didn't want to react, didn't want to snap up into the wall. And, unfortunately, just couldn't quite gather it back up. So we are running the high horsepower package here at Phoenix International Raceway. So definitely great to see that, in my opinion. I love when the race car is a little bit slippery underneath you and you can use all that horsepower. I personally prefer that over the low horsepower package. But I'll tell you what, Greg, I think we're going to see our first pit stops of the night for most of our leaders.
I think so too, Peter. They're going to be coming down, and here they come, led by points leader and unofficial champion Greg Evans. The entire field behind him. First round of pit stops here on this third caution of the day.
Yeah, that number 2 will lead them all down. Now the big question is, will these drivers get into their pit box nice and neatly? This is kind of a tricky pit road to get into your pit box because you can see this long curve into your pit box, especially if you're down near turn number 1, almost into turn number 2. Look at AJ Digby there going through the number 52 of Grant Brown. But looks like all of your major contenders got into their pit box. You see left sides going on, the number 2 machine. The jack drops, and he's down and away. Wow, very quick pit stop for the number 2 crew. Adam Jersky going to be the next one off pit road. What about the number 7 machine? Where is the 7 of Jenkins? I still haven't seen him coming off pit road. And the number 7 of Jenkins still in his pit box. I'm not sure.
Just now rolling.
I'm not sure if he fixed some damage or whether or not.
Penalty?
I don't know.
Confirmation. That's going to drop him 33-second pit stop. That is going to drop him almost to the tail end of the lead lap here, Peter.
Well, let's see if we can catch up with the number 7 of Jenkins here quickly and see if we can get him up into the 3-wide TV booth for a quick word and see exactly what happened to him. John Jenkins, Peter Short here in the 3-wide TV booth. What just happened there under that pit stop?
Speeding.
Well, hey, I gotta say, you might have got speeding, but better to be speeding on entry than on exit, because at least you kind of still get to do that stop and hold and before kind of having to drop to the back. You have a lot of cars to pass here, but you've looked very, very quick. You've made a couple of moves. How's the car driving?
It's not too bad. It's pretty loose. It's a weird setup. But I just sat on pit road because I was going to have to let everyone go by. I didn't have a hold or nothing. But it's been all right. Just kind of riding around.
Yeah, definitely looks like it's been a bit slippery. It's caught up out a couple of drivers here in the first few laps, but looking forward to see you charge back through the field here there, John. All right, we're going to let John Jenkins get back to his crew over there in the Momentum Sim Racing team. And going to be fun, like I said, to see him charge up through the field here, Greg, because we have a lot of laps left, 155. And the way cautions have been falling, I think there's plenty of opportunity for that number 7 to get back up into the top 5.
Yeah, plenty of chances for Jenkins to get back up. There's still a long way to go in this one, Peter, as we get set for a green flag. Evans has led every lap thus far, though, and unofficially is the champion, so all he's got to do is just reel it out for the remainder of this race, and it'll be a stamp on the season for Evans. But still got work to do to try to get that 12th victory of the season.
Absolutely. Pace truck going to dive down onto pit road once again. Green flag in the flagman's hand. 154 laps to go when we go back green here in the American Regardless 200 at the Phoenix International Raceway. Greg Evans has basically led. In fact, I think he has led every single lap so far in tonight's race. But look at Jordan Harnish in the number 2, or in the second position, I should say, the number 32 right there. Got Beef Jersey's cheesecakes on the hood. He's actually going to get around to Mr. Jersey himself as Jersey going to slot back into third, Harnish up to second, and like I was saying there as that caution flag came out, that number 32 of Jordan Harnish has been super impressive over these last few weeks. Potentially might be someone to look out for in the 2021 Hacksaw PC's Premier Cup Series.
Always got to keep an eye on Harnish in the number 32, the way he's run lately. Look at what John Jenkins has already done, though, Peter. He is charging through the field in this number 7 car, already getting up to close to 15th. We'll see where he settles in here this lap. He's going to be scored in 15th position exactly, going after Alex Giese right now in the number 7. Or the 7 of Jenkins is going after the 77 of Giese. Woody Mahan in front of him is a lap down. But look at this, Peter. Jordan Harnish is beginning to put the pressure on Greg Evans.
Yeah, Harnish wants to lead a lap. How about that? And I was thinking that might have been a little bit of damage on the back end of the number 2 machine, but it doesn't look like it. Looks like it might have just been the glare. But definitely Harnish is whipping his way around this racetrack really quickly. Definitely starting to find some groove. I know this racetrack, personally, it suits my driving style because I really love to roll the center of the corner, really wait to get on that throttle, play around with that throttle if need be to kind of loosen up that rear end. I love this racetrack. It is such a fun one to drive when you can kind of find that rhythm. And Harnish has found that rhythm here tonight in that number 32 New Jersey's Cheesecake Emporium Ford Mustang. And you see the rest of the field flash on by. Oh, man! I thought Pete Baskins there was going to catch the outside wall, but he was able to stay off of it in the number 27. He's currently being scored 1 lap down. We have 19 cars on the lead lap. Woody Mahan currently in the lucky dog position in the number 84 machine.
Mahan trying to catch another caution, get himself back onto the lead lap. 19 cars on the lead lap. That's all the way back to the 78 of John Van Verellis. The last car on the lead lap right now. Evans in the lead still, has led all 51 laps that have been completed, making 52 off the corner to take the crossing stripe. Working now lap 53. The field speeds by. Peter, another guy that we got to keep an eye on for 2021 in this series, because he joined the series about halfway through, but has been very strong every race, even getting that win in Iowa back in the summer. We're talking about AJ Digby in the number 14. He has had such a breakout campaign, even though it was only the second half of the season. Outstanding job by AJ Digby in his few starts here this season. I think he's going to be one to keep an eye on next year as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I think there's going to be quite a few drivers to keep an eye on next season. Of course, it's going to be another long season as, I was keeping my eye on Woody Mahan as he's trying to fend off number 7 of John Jenkins. Of course, that's not for positions because Woody Mahan is 1 lap down, as I mentioned just a little bit ago. And there's a little bit further back. That's the number 4 of J.R. Bash in the Center Shot Outfitters Chevrolet. He's running right in front of John Van Verellis and behind Mark Myers in the 04 machine. They're currently running back around the 17th position. Back up towards the front, there's the number 8 McKee Lawn Care Services Chevrolet of Jimmy McKee trying to run down Doug Mullins. Mullins now running in 4th. Could this be the night that he finally gets to go to victory lane in the Hacksaw PC's Premier Cup Series? I know he wants 1 win beside his name when this is all said and done. And he's running right behind Adam Jersey, who qualified 2nd, still running up there in 3rd. But Harnish is not allowing Greg Evans to get too big of a lead up there at the front.
Harnish not letting Evans get away as I'm watching the 18 of Mullins as well. He's getting a run on Jersey behind him. You can just barely see it at the top of your screen there. There's Mullins. He's getting a run on Jersey, peeking to the bottom of the number 69. We got Sliced Porcupines versus Cheesecake here in the number 69. Trying to hold off is the championship contender, Adam Jersey. Mullins going to take the dog leg here through the backstretch. That is completely legal. First time since 2015 that these drivers have competed in the open dog leg, and it really seems like they're enjoying it.
Yeah, and I gotta say, it's a lot of fun dropping down there below that dog leg. I know it's one of those things that league admins are kind of, it can sometimes lead to more accidents, and yes, it can. But these drivers here, they've kind of had the training wheels taken off, if you will. because the league knows that these are good drivers. They were able to prove a couple of weeks ago at Texas Motor Speedway that could race the entire race without any cautions. I mean, here tonight, beyond the little bit of contact that we saw back between, I think it was Todd Kirkwood and I think John Van Varellis, no real contact between these drivers. They know how to mind their P's and Q's. We've seen a couple of cars spin out of the corner. You know what? That's just a nature of the setup in Phoenix International Raceway. It is a slippery racetrack. You get all that dust on the racetrack from it being out in the desert. I like to call this place the Tricky Triangle of the West because it's got that dog leg on the backstretch. I love this place, and that dog leg is one of the features that I also really enjoy running. Dipping down there below that white wall and cutting that corner, man, there's nothing that makes you feel any better as a race car driver, knowing that you're doing all that you can to shave off a little bit of time. But I'm not seeing all too many people run that dog leg there, Greg.
And we kind of saw that as well on Thursday night when the Hacksaw PC's premiere, or the Throwback Series, was here on Thursday night here on 3YTV. You can catch that replay in the archive as well. Every Hacksaw PC's premiere series race this season. So if you want to go back and relive your favorite race of this season, you can go back and do that. But yeah, going back to your point, we saw the drivers not really using the open dog leg, and part of that on Thursday we talked about might have been the suspension on the cars, but these cars can take it. So I'm wondering, Peter, if these drivers are just so used to not having the dog leg there that they're kind of hesitant to use it right now.
Yeah, that definitely is one thing. That dog leg does have a lot of bumps down there. It can mess up a splitter, and definitely might be something that we see a little bit more in effect as the race goes on. We're not even yet to the halfway mark here in the American Regardless season finale as these cars whip their way around the racetrack. There's the number 24 of Alan Young. He's running right behind Brian Yazik, and I've been watching these two just a little bit because Alan Young has just been a little bit faster than Brian Yazik, just been kind of showing a little bit of pressure to the back end of the number 55. And of course, one of the key stories of this season, Greg, that we have to be mindful of is, of course, mid-year, the American Sim Racing Series lost a true champion, Bryce Whitson, and Brian Yazik's paint scheme since the passing of L. Bryce Whitson has been one of Bryce Whitson's old paint schemes, and definitely Yazik showing tribute to him, and definitely a previous winner of the series, previous champion, a man who meant a lot to the series passing away. And it's been great to see drivers like Brian Yazik, Greg Evans as well, and Michael Krobach all having throwback paint schemes for Bryce Whitson through certain portions of the year. And definitely he will be missed here as we move on into 2021 next year.
Yeah, definitely, Peter. And that race at Darlington where many drivers ran throwback schemes, it was throwback weekend here in the ASRS series, and many drivers ran throwback schemes in honor of Bryce Whitson, but it was the Loud Pedal Motorsports boys there, Yazik and Krobach. They elected to say, no, we're going to run these the rest of the year. Bryce was our teammate. He was a Loud Pedal Motorsports teammate with Yazik and Krobach. They decided and took it upon themselves to run it for the rest of the campaign, paying tribute to him. And what a performance they've had in the playoffs. Didn't make it to the championship four, but they had some stellar runs in the 55 and 72 respectively.
Yeah, without a doubt. Definitely been a strong season for Loud Pedal Motorsports. Of course, Mark Cohn has also run a couple of races, and definitely been pretty cohesive as a team. As whoa, as we mentioned, Loud Pedal Motorsports, Brian Yazik got on the loud pedal a little bit too much coming out of turn number 2. He's going to lose that position to the number 24 of Alan Young, and I thought Yazik was going to be going around much like his teammate Pete Baskins did a couple laps ago. We'll see this one here on the 3Y TV replay. Watch this back end kick out right in the center of the corner. He continues to save it. Good job there by Brian Yazik to chase that car up the racetrack. He loses the spot to the number 24, but he keeps it pointed in the right direction, slides back to 9th, and now he's going to come under fire from the number 1 machine of Jason Stewart. He qualified down in 14th. He's now running in 10th. Yazik's picked up 8 positions from where he started, so definitely a couple of these drivers starting to move their way forward. But how about Alan Young this season, Greg? Definitely, I didn't exactly peg that number 24 machine to be fast at the beginning of the season, I'll be honest, but he has proven me wrong. A lot of very, very strong results for that number 24 machine, now up in 8th.
And we mentioned him a couple of times, Peter, as another driver, much like Doug Mullins, who was a driver in that conversation for that first win of the season several times. I think back for Alan Young, North Wilkesboro, Darlington, New Hampshire, a couple races where he was up in the mix leading laps. Thought for sure he had it at North Wilkesboro, considering how he did in the Throwback Series race there, winning the inaugural event there at North Wilkesboro for that series. So Alan Young, he has run so strong. Darlington, a podium finish. Did well at Rockingham as well. Another driver along with Doug Mullins and AJ Digby to watch in 2021. Several other drivers we haven't talked about yet to watch in 2021, but Alan Young, another one of them. By the way, for those interested, look behind him. Look who's on the inside there in the number 7, trying to break into the top 10. He just did. That's John Jenkins in the number 7. He's fought his way back up into the top 10 after his mishap on pit road.
Yeah, great job there by the number 7 of Jenkins. He got himself back up into the top 10, and now he's going to go to work on the number 55 of Yazik. Yazik still fighting with that race car. Let's see if we can go on board with Brian Yazik. Fire up the old gyro cam so we can see just how much Yazik is having to fight this wheel. There's a little bit of a wiggle right there through the center of the corner, and he's just kind of sawing on it. Greg just doesn't seem to be able to have the grip that he needs to get that throttle firmly planted. We'll watch here again, kind of sawing on the wheel. It definitely looks very, very light on the wheel, if you will. And again, a little bit of a wiggle coming out of that corner. Definitely really loosey-goosey right now for that number 55 HPPsimulation.com Ford.
Yeah, I think it's a safe bet that he needs tires on that number 55. The problem is these drivers only have 2 sets of tires left. He might get a chance to here as the caution is out. Just as John Jenkins was making a move to the inside, Alex Giese facing the wrong way on the one-way here on the front stretch. Let's take a look at the 3YTV replay.
Yeah, all by himself again. We've seen this a couple times here tonight. Just breaks loose from him there really late on exit. We've seen cars go around a little bit earlier than that, but it just seemed to catch out. Alex Giese just really snapped on him real fast, and he's going to try and get past the pace car. He's going to stay on the lead lap here, but it looks like Woody Mahan is finally going to get the lucky dog spot in the Mahan Speed Laboratories Ford Mustang, so he will be the 20th car on the lead lap. His Loud Pedal Motorsports teammate, the 27 of Pete Baskins, has also left the racetrack. He appears to have packed it up, and that crew will head off for the All-Star here in a couple of weeks, assuming that Pete Baskins will feature in that All-Star race. But we have a bunch of takers headed down pit road here, Greg, led by your race leader, Greg Evans.
Yeah, Jordan Harnish made it clear with team communications that he was going to be doing whatever the 2 car did. So they are going to come down pit road. All drivers making their way down. Second set of tires for these drivers. They will have 1 set of tires left and 125 laps to use these 2 sets of tires that we're talking about here. All cars on pit road. Watching the number 2 of Evans. The race leader has led every lap thus far. See if the pit crew can keep that streak going as they come around, and he is down and away, and he will definitely win the race off pit road. Jersky able to leapfrog in the number 69. However, he's not going to lead the lap because one driver stayed out, Peter. We just talked about him, the 24 of Alan Young, the New Englander, staying out. He's going to be the first driver not named Greg Evans to lead tonight.
Yeah, and looking at lap times, Alan Young, his fastest lap here tonight was a 27.2. And over the last 5 laps, he was averaging, last 5 green flag laps, he was averaging a 28.2. So about a second slower, a second fall off. Maybe just thinking about getting a little bit off sequence here, save those tires for a later pit stop and kind of see if he can get to the lead that way. We've seen that work a couple times this season. We've mentioned that a couple times here tonight. The one driver who likes to try that strategy the most is Jason Stewart in the number 1 mobile. But Alan Young here trying to do something a little bit different, save that extra set of tires for maybe later in the race, and I don't blame him because that is definitely one way to get to victory lane, is to do something that the leaders are not and have everything work out to your advantage.
Yeah, remember the Charlotte race when Jason Stewart was the one on that strategy, the big 200 lap race, the longest race of the season for the Hacksaw PC's Premier Series. It was Jason Stewart that did that in the number one. It paid off with a top 5 finish for him. Not the win that he wanted, but he did do a nice job. Jason Stewart has turned it on in the development series as well, Peter, winning the finale for the Truck Series here in the American Sim Racing Series right here at Phoenix. So keep an eye on him as well throughout this race, currently being scored in 11th as the field going to stack up 2x2 to get ready for this restart. We'll see what the older tires of Alan Young can do with Greg Evans behind him.
Yep, and we're going to be lining them back up for a restart here very shortly. It's going to be lap number 78, just about 23 laps away from the halfway distance here in tonight's American Regardless Championship Finale 200. Let's go check out the chat and see what we got going on. Todd Kirkwood in the chat. He has left the racetrack, now hanging out with the 3 Wide TV bunch. The DMLC Racing channel saying the 3 Wide commentators curse. Yep, absolutely. That is one way that we seem to have an effect on the race somehow, some way. Is that commentator's curse always striking? Mitch Brown asked about the track temperature. Current track temperature is 81 degrees Fahrenheit, so definitely a little bit cooler here as we go back to Green Flag Racing. The 24 of Alan Young, he's going to get not the best jump that we've seen all night long, but he's on those older tires trying to hold off those hard-charging fresh tires, and he's not going to be able to do so because the number 2 of Greg Evans is going to be back out to the lead here before we even get to turn number 3, and 3 Wide going off into turn number 3. We got the 69 and the 32 almost colliding there on entry into turn number 3, but here comes Harnish around the outside, motoring on past the 24 of Young, and now Young's got a huge train of cars behind him. How about the Will Worcester Racing teammates here? Will Worcester and Doug Mullins running there up inside the top 5 now. As 3 Wide out of the corner. Worcester, big slide out of the number 29.
He's going to cut the dog leg, though, and go for the 3rd spot. He's going to get around Young, but Jersky was able to clear Young. Worcester pushes up the track as they're on board with him. That's going to open the door for his teammate Doug Mullins to get a run. Meanwhile, Peter, we have a battle for the lead beginning to brew. Look at Jordan Harnish. You saw it there at the top of your screen. He wants the lead. He's going to take the lead. Jordan Harnish, the first driver to pass Greg Evans under green here tonight. He leads on lap number 80.
It took 80 laps for someone to get around that number 2 under green flag conditions, and finally someone's done it. Jordan Harnish up to the race lead. Meanwhile, a little bit further back, we're still battling. We got the Will Worcester teammates side by side right here, the 29 and the number 18. Mullins underneath Worcester, and then back behind them, Jimmy McKee, who's trying to get himself now up to the 2nd position in points. He's going to have to get past Adam Jersky if he's going to want that. Brian Yazik right behind them. He's running in 7th, and look who's clawed himself back up into the 8th position. That's the number 7, of John Jenkins in the super clean Toyota Camry. Definitely he is showing that pace that we saw earlier in the race after that pit road speeding penalty here, striking him around lap number 45. And he's trying to go to town on the number 8 machine of McKee, but McKee going to be underneath Yazik. This is a good battle back for around the 6th position.
Battling it out for 6th position, McKee and Jenkins, 2 playoff drivers. McKee able to clear for the time being in the number 8, but Jenkins very methodically making his way back through the field here, Peter, trying to get up and just try to get as many spots as he can. Remember, unofficially, Greg Evans has clinched the title, but of course, that all depends on the battle or how everything unfolds. And as that happens, he's decided, you know what, I want the lead back. I want my 12th win of the season. Thank you very much for coming, Jordan. Evans back to the lead into number 2.
Yeah, that didn't last long, did it? That number 2 back up to the point. And there you see the number 32, Jordan Harnish, all over the back bumper of the number 2. And I expect to see that number 2 just try and get a little bit of breathing room. We've seen him kind of manage the lead here tonight. And look at that late lunge off into turn number 3. Definitely a little bit later on the brakes, but look at how he arcs down to that yellow line. Just barely flipping it, gets the run out of the corner. It looks like Harnish actually a little bit better launch out of turn number 4, but then going off into turn number 1 once again. Evans is really arcing the corner. He's trying to save his tires by arcing the corner as much as possible. while Harnish there is charging the corner just a little bit harder, maybe trying to get some clean air on the nose to get some downforce, just try and get underneath the two of Evans. But at least for now, it's all working for Evans because he continues to lead. And look at Mullins now hounding the third place of Adam Jersky. And back there, you see the number 29 machine of Will Worcester. He's riding inside the top 5 now. And definitely that number 29 in the 5th position of Will Worcester. I'll tell you what, Greg, when we saw him earlier this season here at Phoenix, he started the race on the pole and he ended up going to victory lane. Doesn't seem like Will Worcester has the same pace here tonight in the 29 that he had in the fourth round of the season. But definitely, he's been slowly creeping his way up there into the top 5.
Never count Will Worcester out either. He always tends to be there at the end. Another one of those drivers who just slowly, methodically clicks it together in the number 29 as you check in with Jenkins and McKee once again. Behind them, Grant Brown to the inside of Jason Stewart. Troy Haight. How about the qualifying effort from the 28 of Haight? We talked about it for a moment, Peter. Qualified in 3rd. Great job by Troy Haight tonight as we got action on pit road. One car coming down pit road. There goes Woody Mahan, who just got the lucky dog. It was the 04 of Mark Myers down pit road, Peter. So getting off sequence or something going wrong on the 04?
I think there's definitely, I don't see any reason for this pit stop by Mark Myers. I think this is definitely an unscheduled stop. Not sure if he didn't get any fuel in it or what, but looks like he is going to come back out here onto the racetrack here shortly. So Mark Myers here, a pit stop with just over 100 laps to go, and he will merge back in with the field on entrance into turn number 3. But back up at the front, Harnish still not letting Evans get too far out front. But then it's a big gap back to your 3rd place, number 18 of Mullins, who did get around Adam Jersky. And now a little bit further back, here's the 55 and the number 7. Both trying to get around Will Worcester, your winner from earlier this season at this racetrack. And just like that, Worcester going to drop from 5th down to 7th. And John Jenkins continues his climb back through the field, now up to the 6th position. But one thing I do want to mention, Greg, is when we were at Phoenix earlier this season, one driver who was not in the field that night, Greg Evans in the number 2 machine. So we didn't get to see how good Evans was at this racetrack before coming into tonight. And definitely, he's showing us he's pretty darn good here.
Yeah, I would say question asked, question answered on that one, Peter. He has been a fantastic drive tonight for Evans in the number 2. Harnish, though, right behind him in the number 32. And we can't talk about it enough, Peter, just how amazing it has been for Jordan Harnish to turn it on here in the end. You just got to wonder what kind of momentum he's going to have moving into next season. Harnish, Doug Mullins in 3rd in the number 18. He's gotten around Jersky. Moved Doug Mullins to 3rd. He's still looking for his first Hacksaw PC's Premier Series victory. You got 3 drivers searching for their first victory, trying to track down the unofficial champion. Let's go through the field here for the season finale at the Phoenix International Raceway, Peter. Top 5 are currently Greg Evans, your unofficial champion in the number 2, duct tape on the hood of it. And what a dominating season it's been for him, Peter. 11 wins on the season entering tonight, looking for 12. And how many other races have gotten away from that number 2 just because of something that happened, a late race pit stop, a late race caution, getting caught up in an incident. We could have been seeing 20, 22, 24 wins out of the number 2 this season. It's been that kind of year for Greg Evans, unofficially your champion. For Jordan Harnish in the number 32, kind of an up and down year for him. He missed the playoffs as he didn't get to run the full season, only limited starts, and struggled in some of those middle of the season races. But the last 5 or 6 weeks or so, Harnish has really begun to turn it on in that number 32. Had a fantastic stretch here at the end of the season to close it out. Here he is running 2nd in the season finale of the Phoenix, and no better way to get some momentum than to be able to ride behind one of the top dogs in the series, the unofficial champion Evans. In 3rd, you're going to find Doug Mullins in the number 18. 2 wins on the year in the TNT Throwback Series for Doug Mullins in this number 18 car for Will Worcester Racing. And he's another one, Peter, who we talked about many, many times saying, hey, he can win a race. He might win it tonight. Hasn't happened yet, but Doug Mullins making a lot of noise for Will Worcester Racing this season. And I think he would have been able to make some noise in the playoffs too had he been able to make every single race. Unfortunately, was not able to. The Cheesecake Man, Adam Jersky, in the number 69, riding in the 4th position, made the finals off a great playoff push to get himself into the playoffs on points, has raced his way in on points to this championship. He said he needed a Hail Mary to try to make something happen, trying to get a 2nd place here in the championship right now. Currently the 2nd highest playoff driver behind Greg Evans, but an amazing tale of consistency for Adam Jersky. Then in 5th, you find the Kentucky winner, Brian Yazek. Put together an incredible battle in the playoffs. Looked like he had a win at Darlington. Finished 2nd to Greg Evans in the number 55. Put together one of the best playoff performances we've seen. Unfortunately, just came up a little bit short in the round of 8. No doubt Loud Pedal Motorsports going to be bringing the heat here in this one. That's your top 5. Peter, pick up 6th.
Hey, we almost had a pass for the 5th position because this number 7 machine of John Jenkins was actually to the inside of the number 55 just a couple of laps ago, but he got really, really loose in the number 7. In fact, he dropped all the way back to 7th. He has since gotten around the number 29 of Will Worsler, but John Jenkins continuing his climb up through the field. Remember, he had that pit road speeding penalty that dropped him back, and it looks like he's going to try and battle for the 5th position once more, going to the inside of the number 55 of Yazek. Yazek, yeah, the 7 machine's going to get loose again, and what a save. It looks like that number 7 machine, is that bring out the caution? Or is there something else out there on the racetrack? Oh, Woody Mahan there behind the scoring pylon trying to hide in shame. Looks like he just got loose there coming out of turn number 2. Wiggle, 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 wiggle everywhere. And, oh, man, almost barely took out the number 24 machine of Alan Young. And looks like Alan Young, who'd fallen all the way back from being first on that last restart back to 14th, barely squeaked by. Look at this. Wiggles out of the number 84 machine. Trying to save it. And then, ooh, getting right down there in the dogleg. Good news is he was able to keep it off the wall. All things considered, if you want to wreck, you want to spin out, you don't want to hit the wall. And let's look at the number 7 right here. This was when Jenkins was trying to get past Yazek, and a similar thing happened. This is exactly what happened, like I was mentioning, a couple laps prior, where he got underneath the 55, and it just got loose. Now, when the caution flag flew, he was still ahead of the number 29 of Will Worsler, so he's still going to be in the 6th position, but definitely not the night that Woody Mahan was looking for. A lot of damage, and a lot of the field staying out here, but now the 24, remember he stayed out under that last caution, Greg. Now the 24 can come down of Alan Young and get 4 fresh tires, and now things are going to shift to his benefit, because he's now going to be about a second faster than the rest of the cars in front of him.
And less than 20 laps, or 20 cars, between himself and the race leader, Greg Evans, and quite a few laps difference on those tires. So we're going to keep an eye on Alan Young moving forward here, Peter, as we see what happens with him moving forward on this restart and through into the second half of the race, which we have officially entered. We are past halfway now with this lap, inside the final 100 laps, the final century grind of the 2020 Hacksaw PC's Premier Series season.
And you know what that number 2 of Greg Evans is trying to do? He's not only trying to win the championship, he's trying to win the championship in style, and he's only about 5 laps away from locking up the most laps led in this race, which will be another bonus point for that number 2 Chevrolet. So just adding a little bit of insult to injury for the rest of the field trying to track him down. It's not even doable anymore. He is, like you've been mentioning, Greg, your unofficial series champion. And look at who is right behind him. Jordan Harnish, we've been mentioning him. Doug Mullins in number 18. He's going to have another stab at these top 2 when we go back to Green Flag Racing. Adam Jersky back in 4th. Brian Yazek continues to hold on to 5th. But a lot of these cars now, Greg, they have the additional horsepower. This restart could be a little slippery. I'm going to be watching for wheel spin.
Especially, Peter, sorry, hit the wrong hotkey there, my bad. But especially, Peter, with how old these tires are, wheel spin is going to come even more into play here on this restart. probably the most we've seen thus far, as I believe that was the longest green flag run that we saw in the race thus far. And the field stayed out. Second longest green flag run, our producer confirms with us, but the field stayed out as opposed to this. So there are going to be the most laps on the tires for this restart, which looks to be coming up here.
Yeah, pace truck lights have turned off, so we're about to get set to go back to green now into the second half of the season finale, like you mentioned there. Big shout out to tonight's race sponsor, American Regardless. Make sure you check out their page as well as the other series sponsors here in the American Sim Racing Series, Hacksaw PC's Premier Cup Series. Definitely a lot of people have made this season possible, and we're looking forward to a lot of people making next season possible as well. As the pace truck headed down pit road, the number 2, Greg Evans, in the 32 of Harnish. Harnish trying to stay right up with him as the green flag flies once again. Back to green flag action here, and good start by Harnish, but not good enough as the 2 of Greg Evans going to cut up in front of him as they dive off into turn number 1. And look at Doug Mullins there. He's side by side with the 69 of Jersey. He's going to drop down there below the yellow line through the dog leg. Can he come up in front of the 69? No, he cannot. They continue to race side by side here in turn number 3 and 4, and we've seen that inside line be tricky and very slippery for drivers like the number 7 of Jenkins. In fact, what's happened to John Jenkins? He's fallen all the way back to 16th. I'm wondering if he decided to come down pit road under this last pit stop.
He may have, yes. He came down pit road. We do have that confirmed with that slide on the tires. And that's big, Peter, because we believe that is the last set of tires on that number 7 car. So he is going to be in trouble moving forward here. 4 sets of tires we just got confirmed here. 5 sets of tires total. So he is still good. We do have more sets of tires available. So he is going to be okay, but unfortunately, Peter, all that work that he just did, he has to do it all over again.
Yeah, but on fresh tires, he should be able to make a quick work of a lot of the field. Other drivers on pit road with John Jenkins include Will Worsler and Alan Young, AJ Digby, Woody Mahan, and Alex Giese, all elected to come and make a pit stop under this pass caution. But as of right now, your top 8 drivers are all on 32-lap old tires until you find the first driver on fresh tires. That is, of course, the number 7 of John Jenkins, who's now all over the back bumper of the number 1 of Jason Stewart as we continue to watch this battle a little bit further up the field. And Grant Brown here, Greg, a fantastic job. He's got himself up there into the 4th position with that pass on the number 18 machine. And remember, we saw that early contact between Grant Brown and AJ Digby. Great recovery for the number 52.
Nice job by Grant Brown in that 52 to climb up into the 4th position. But look out up front, Peter. Jordan Harnish wants another shot at Greg Evans. He's on the bumper. Evans able to gap him a little bit there through the dog leg that time. Neither of them cut it, but they did gain ground, did the 2 camp as we see the side-by-side battle back here. Jenkins, Worsler, Mullins in the number 18. He's going the wrong way, Peter. Something might be going sour on that number 18. He fell back to 8th that lap.
And of course, he was passed by Will Worsler, who's on fresh tires, as well as John Jenkins, who's now inside the top 4. He just got around Grant Brown. So Jenkins using those fresher tires to his advantage. And remember what happened at Richmond, Greg, when Jenkins got off strategy and was able to really make the best call of the race, picking up fresh tires at just the right time. And he was able to really run away with that race. This racetrack, a lot of people say, is very similar to Richmond in the way it races. So Jenkins probably thinking about that here tonight. He's got himself now up to 3rd with a pass on Adam Jersey. He's just picking him up, laying him down. Jenkins here, he's going to be your race leader here very shortly if we don't see another caution.
He is fighting through the field. Is Jenkins already up to 3rd after restarting back in 16th position. And here he is, climbing through the field, checking in with Alan Young in the number 22. He has not climbed through as quickly. Wow. John Jenkins just dove bomb Jordan Harnish there. I thought they were going to get together. Alan Young is up in the 7th now in the number 24. So he's not quite making the progress that he was earlier, the progress that Jenkins is, because John Jenkins has caught up to Greg Evans now in the number 2, and he's going to get it right here. So he's going to cut the dog leg. Here's John Jenkins the 2nd. He's throwing that Hail Mary right now here, Peter.
Yeah, and that number 7 machine now going to take the lead, I think, for the first time here tonight. Let's see if we can bring up lap lead count here, because that number 2 of Greg Evans, he has locked up the most laps led here tonight. So add another point to his tally. He doesn't need it because he's already locked up the championship. But another point that I'm sure is going to be good for him. Oh, here comes the 18. A little bit of right rear damage on the number 18 of Mullins. Perhaps something happening with the Slice Porcupines Chevrolet. We'll see if we can go back and do a little bit of investigation work here on 3 Wide TV. See if, wow. That was an interesting situation. I'm not sure if that broke something or what the deal happened, but we'd seen Mullins sliding back through the field. He's going to come down and, oh no, I thought he was just going to get tires. No, Doug Mullins has left the racetrack, and the number 18 will be the next retirement of the night. So Mullins looks like he'll be scored with a 20th place finish here tonight. Definitely something breaking on that race car. So Mullins will end out the 2020 Hacksaw PC's Premier Cup Series with something he didn't want to have, a D and F here at Phoenix International Raceway. And look at this battle for second. Will Worcester on fresh tires. He's just going to blow on past Greg Evans. And Evans here just has to be patient. Here comes the 24 of Alan Young as well. Man, I got to say, Alan Young's in a pretty good position here, Greg, because remember, he elected to save a set of tires. Meanwhile, I think Jenkins and Worcester have one fewer set than the 2 and most of the other cars behind them. And I'm just looking at my lifetime scoring to confirm that. Yeah, because Alan Young's only been on pit road twice. Greg Evans has been on pit road twice, but Worcester and Jenkins, they've both been on pit road 3 times in this race, which means that they've used up 3 of their 5 sets that they have to offer here tonight. So that's kind of an interesting call. And I got to say, advantage Alan Young at this point, in my opinion.
And Young might be able to steal this one if this works out his way. The problem is, though, we still have over 80 laps to go. That can change in a heartbeat here, Peter, especially at a track like Phoenix, where we've seen a few cautions so far here tonight, as Jenkins is up 1.5 seconds on Will Worcester right now for the race lead. Alan Young in third. The 3 drivers that took to pit road there have worked their way up into the top 3. Jordan Harnish now going back to work on Greg Evans to try to reel him in about half a second back. We take a look at this deep in the field. There goes Sam Crow in the number 5, John Van Varellis, the 78. 18 cars on the lead lap right now, Peter. 19 cars still on track. Mark Myers is in the lucky dog position, 2 laps down right now in the 19th position. The only car running on the racetrack that's not being scored on the lead lap, so he is in the lucky dog position, but he's going to need 2 of them to make it work.
Yeah, and of course, Mark Myers made that pit stop here just a little while ago. Not 100% sure why he came down pit road, but he did elect to come down pit road, take on some tires, and that's why he's down in 19th position. There is the 69 machine of Adam Jersey. He's actually run down Jordan Harnish, and that would be a battle for the 5th position as of right now. So a couple of these Beef Jersey's cheesecake machines running together. And Greg, you know, everyone enjoys that special time of the week, and I don't think we got a graphic prepared for this week's special cheesecake of the race, but I know it's that time of the year. Let's hear about this week's cheesecake of the race.
We actually had several people, Peter, thinking it was going to be this last week. However, we can kind of make an argument. Both Halloween and Thanksgiving, you can argue for pumpkin. So pumpkin spice / pumpkin pie cheesecake, the final Greg Rentz cheesecake of the race. Unfortunately, we don't have the graphic for you guys this week, but we're in the holiday season. Perfect time. A lot of people thought last week it was going to be the case, but we can have pumpkin pie, pumpkin spice, whichever you prefer, cheesecake anytime at this point in the year, even into the December holidays, whichever holiday you and your family and loved ones celebrate. Pumpkin pie works with any of them, so that's why pumpkin pie, pumpkin spice, whichever you want to prefer, the final Greg Rentz cheesecake of the race for 2020.
Yeah, I gotta say, I would love a piece of cheesecake right now. Would absolutely love a piece of cheesecake right here in the 3Y TV booth. And there's last week's cheesecake of the race, the pink lemonade. Of course, that was for, Breast Cancer Awareness Month. In fact, we got a couple of pink cars still running out here. Yes, we're not in October anymore, but of course, you should say that breast cancer awareness is not just a thing for October. It's for a thing year-round, and a caution flag has been thrown, and looks like Woody Mahan again in the number 84 machine. Going, Alex Giese there in the 77 also off the racetrack. Did they have a coming together? I was a little bit quick to jump on the 84 situation, but he's going to get up the racetrack, and Giese looks like he's going to spin out trying to avoid the number 84, and might have just barely clipped that inside wall. So caution flag back in the air here on lap number 124. We're right on board with Mahan here there, Greg.
Taking a look at what happened with Woody Mahan, much like the previous one. Wiggle and a giggle and a bobble and a jiggle, as another announcer that I commentate with on another channel likes to say in that kind of situation. But same exact spot there for Woody Mahan. Alex Giese had a pretty good view of this here. Let's go on board with him and see what he said. I think I caught my producer off guard with that one.
Yeah, you're gonna have to repeat that one again here in a little bit. And Giese might have just had the slightest of contacts with that inside retaining wall. Good job, though, to avoid the spinning number 84 of Woody Mahan. There he is out there on the racetrack. Looks like already a little bit of damage on the number 77, and I do believe Woody Mahan has taken his 84 behind the wall here tonight. A couple of cars electing to stay out, but then a whole group of cars coming down pit road led by Alan Young. Remember, Greg, he had saved that set of tires under the last couple of rounds of pit stops, 2 pit stops to go, used it under the last one. So he is on sequence when it comes to tires relative to the cars around him. So that's why he's coming down. But the drivers who pitted for the 3rd time under the last pit stop, the 7 of Jenkins and the 29 of Warsaw, both of those drivers electing to stay out. And you would have to think that that's going to work very much against them here when we go back green shortly, as the 2 of Evans is going to win the race off pit road. They're side by side right there for second. Looks like the 24 of Alan Young is going to pick up the second car off pit road, followed by Jersky and the number 32 of Jordan Harnish. Well, folks, why don't we step away here for just a brief moment to line up some commercials for you, and we'll be right back here on 3 Wide TV.
Every day in business starts with a number. Output, productivity, efficiency, all measured in numbers, because data drives decisions. And if fire or water damage strikes, the numbers for your business can slow or even stop. Unless you know this one. 1-800-SERVPRO, the number 1 choice in commercial cleanup and restoration.
Welcome to Sliced Pizza Bar, where we're passionate about great pizza. All of our food is made fresh daily using only the finest ingredients and techniques. Our chefs put their heart and soul into each pie, and we're sure you'll taste the difference. Located on both the Indian Rocks and Madeira beaches, chances are we're right around the corner for your next pizza night or dinner date. Come give us a try and experience the slice difference.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Phoenix International Raceway for tonight's American Regardless Championship Finale 200, where we will wrap up the 2020 Hacksaw PC Premier Cup Series. Under this caution, your lucky dog went to Mark Myers, who's now only 1 lap down. He was 2. And the pace truck about to head down pit road, racing the hands of the number 7 and the number 29, as well as the number 14 there in third. Those top 3 did not pit. They were on older tires. First car on fresh tires, the number 2 of Greg Evans. He's going to jump to the outside of the number 29, use those fresh tires to his advantage, and full level with him here coming out of turn number 2.
They spread 3 wide behind them, with AJ Digby, the one cutting the dog leg down on the extreme inside. He's going to get around Harnish in the number 14. So AJ Digby, after losing a bit of ground, oh, he gets together with Harnish, and we've got a caution.
Oh man, that's a big wreck. Harnish involved, the 14, also heavy damage. And Harnish has had such a strong run here tonight. We'll go back and catch this one on the replay. What happened here? They try and go 3 wide, and the 18 get loose. Oh man, that might have just been a nudge in the rear, kind of an accordion effect. And look at Jimmy McKee. They're just squeaking through in the McKee Lawn Care Services Chevrolet. Let's see if we can get maybe a blimp cam or an onboard. Here we go, onboard with Jordan Harnish right here. Was there a nudge here, Greg? Right? Yeah, looked like a little bit of a nudge on the back of AJ Digby.
Just enough to send him around, and I don't know how McKee got through that. We'll see. We're going to take a look, I believe, from the blimp cam. I want to take one more look on board with McKee as well to see what happened there, as there are cars on pit road right now. Actually, no, excuse me, saw that wrong. Still everyone out there right now. Here's going to be the bump from Harnish to Digby, and watch McKee just squeak through this.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he got a little piece of the back of Troy Haight and the number 28, who, all things considered, Troy Haight did a good job of trying to minimize the damage on the peanut and water filters Chevy Camaro. Trying to see if Jimmy McKee elected to come down pit road. He did not, so McKee still out there on the racetrack working around. Let's see if we can go on board. Yeah, might have just been a little bit of nudge into the left rear corner of the number 28 of Troy Haight, but at least McKee is still out there on the racetrack. Doesn't feel like he's got too much damage. In fact, Greg, why don't we see if we can dial up the number 8 machine here of Jimmy McKee, see if we can get a quick word with him there, Greg?
Yeah, Jimmy McKee, Greg Rents 3YTV, got a copy?
Yes.
Hey, Jimmy, we have watched the replay of that last one about 3 or 4 times, and every single time we find ourselves asking the same question. How in the world did you get through that with as little damage as you got?
Couldn't tell you. The way my luck's going right now, I can't believe I'm not smashed up right now.
Well, tell us about what you saw there as we continue to ride under caution. Tell us about what you saw unfold in front of you, though.
Honestly, I was so close to whatever car was in front of me. I don't even remember who it was, and I couldn't see a thing. And then I saw everybody start checking up, so I dipped low. And then all of a sudden, I think I saw 32 was sideways, and I may have hit him with my right front corner or somebody else. But I don't know. I'm just happy I made it out without, any huge amount of damage.
All right, Jimmy, we'll let you get back to it, trying to get a second here in the championship. We'll let you go and get back at it the rest of the way, or good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you.
So that was Jimmy McKee in the number 8, barely squeaking through there. Evans, Worsler, Jersky, Young, Grant Brown in the top 5, Peter. And we heard there may have been a little bit of a temper in the number 52 earlier. Peter, you got a little insider information on that.
Yeah, there was a finger just telling his crew chief that the crew chief was number 1 under that last caution. Of course, the race cars here tonight very, very loose, and that number 52, Grant Brown, saying, you know what, I don't appreciate the loose car, Mr. Crew Chief, and gave him that one finger salute as he went on past his pit box. So good news is it's the last race of the season, so if you have to get rid of your crew chief, you can pick up a new one before the start of next year. There's still plenty of time to do so, but there isn't much time to do much of yellow flag running, because the green flag is about to be unfurled here once again. The pace truck going to head down onto pit lane, and the race back in the hands of number 2 of Greg Evans, and he's already on the loud pedal. Remember, he's on those fresher tires, the 29 of Will Worcester, on older tires. What happened to the number 7 of John Jenkins under that short run? Well, he's now all the way back in the 14th position because he came down to take on a set of Goodyear tires. Now John Jenkins is going to have to run his way through the field here with 67 laps to go. Greg Evans, your race leader, once again. Will Worcester on his older tires trying to hang on for dear life, but he is now under fire from the number 69 of Adam Jersky to his outside, Greg.
Jersky trying to make a run on the outside. Remember, he was looking for the Hail Mary and hoping something happened to Evans. Unfortunately, again, we've talked about it, with just 18 cars left on the track, it means Evans is locked into the 23rd position here in this one at least. So he does have unofficially the championship locked up. Second, still wide open, and anything can and will happen. And Adam Jersky and Jimmy McKee are hoping that Jenkins has a hard time getting through traffic here on this next restart. How about the run that Jersky has had, though, in that number 69? Doing everything in his power, Peter, to get up there and compete for a win. See if he can steal a win here and get a second place in points.
Yeah, and I gotta say, Adam Jersky, he comes into tonight second place in points already, and with such a strong run in that number 69 machine, you'd think it would be an injustice if he did not finish in that second position, as a caution flag comes out, and it is John Van Verellis in the Stavros Pizza House Chevrolet who's gone around on the front stretch. Remember, he was involved in an accident earlier on, and let's see if we can see what happened here right in front of the number 7 of Jenkins, and whoa, looks like all by himself. Too much beans coming out of turn number 4, and he knows that one into the inside retaining wall pretty hard. There's going to be a lot of damage on that Chevrolet that he's going to have to come down and get repaired. But back under caution, let's go on board with Van Verellis here, Greg, and again, just gets away from him very quickly.
Breaking loose right there and nosing it in the wall. Very similar to what we saw from Michael Krobach and Alex Giese earlier in the day there. That's the third car that's had that happen to him in that exact same spot.
Yeah, so turn number 4 looks like it is Calamity Corner, if you will, here tonight at Phoenix. But that's going to put us back behind the pace truck. Now let's see if we can possibly dial up one of these other drivers. Let's see if we can pick up the number 69 of Adam Jersky. Let's see if we can get a quick word with him up here in the booth. Hey, Adam Jersky, Peter Short here in 3 Wide TV booth. You got a copy?
Yep, I got you.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. You started on the outside pole. You're currently running in second. It's been a fantastic night for that number 69 machine. How much practice did you get in this week?
Boy, you can really tell I've been practicing, can you? I've put in more hours than I ever have this whole year. It's nice to see that some results halfway through this race are starting to show. I was a little nervous going into it, just with how loose this car seems to be, but it's really coming in nicely. So looking forward to see how the rest of this race plays out.
Yeah, without a doubt, that number 69 machine, it doesn't seem to be as affected as some of the other drivers with how loose it is. It seemed like you were starting to pick up some long run pace there a little while ago on Jordan Harnish, of course, before Harnish had his troubles, which is a definite shame for the number 32. But how do you keep those rear tires underneath the car? Because we're definitely seeing some drivers struggle with that here tonight.
Yeah, I think I'm backing up my corner into 1, and then I'm going a little wider through 3 and 4, which more people seem to be on the bottom. They're able to take the shorter way around, but I think I'm just turning the wheel less, and that's really helping my tires longer on the run. Hopefully we can get more long runs, because that does seem to be where I'm not falling off as much as some of the other guys around me. Greg's tough. He's still up there leading, so we'll see if things can play out in our favor.
Well, I'll tell you what, Greg Evans right in front of you, he's trying to pick up win number 12 on the season. But wouldn't it be great to see you pick up your first win here in the final round of the 2020 Hacksaw PC's championship? Best of luck there, Adam.
Yep, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, well, we'll let him get back to his team here under caution. We have about one more lap under this particular caution flag. We'll see if we can bring up the race summary. There has been quite a few cautions in this race, Greg. Of course, we've heard from all these drivers how loose this race car is, especially on the throttle. They are running the high horsepower package on a very, very flat racetrack, which is something we haven't seen a lot this year. And of course, perhaps a couple of years ago when they were used to the high horsepower cars, we might not have seen this many yellows. But due to the fact that we run that lower horsepower package a lot now, maybe a couple of these drivers have gotten used to that lower horsepower package.
Could very well be, Peter. They are they are turning a lot of laps on this setup and this new aero package. So the more familiar these drivers get with it, the less and less we see something happen here. Unfortunately, it hasn't gone as clean as it could have here tonight, but it's been a very nice run for Greg Evans and Adam Jersky in the number 2 and 69 respectively. Look at Grant Brown up there fighting that loose car to get third.
Yeah, absolutely. Grant Brown, a little bit of rear end damage on that 52 from earlier contact, but he's going to try and keep with the number 2 of Evans as the green flag comes back out, unable to do so. But Grant Brown was able to get to the inside of Adam Jersky and Beef Jersky's Cheesecake race car, and Grant Brown really rolling the bottom right now in that 52. Nice and neatly right now, going to duck all the way to the bottom of the dog leg, comes back out in the racetrack, and he is going to pick up the second position. How about that? Grant Brown to second, and here comes Brian Yasek in the Loud Pedal Motorsports 55 trying to get third.
Hey, maybe sticking the finger out the window towards his crew chief has motivated that 52 team to get going, and he kind of keyed up there, sending the message to the 69 Jersey saying, beep, beep, I'm coming through. In the number 52, Grant Brown, he wants to try to get a win here to close it out.
Grant Beep Beep Brown in that 52, now running in second. Will Warsler on those older tires, remember, he has only dropped back to fifth. So good job here by Warsler to hold on to those tires. Yes, we've had a couple of cautions, but Warsler's done a spectacular job keeping with these front cars. Yes, he's losing a little bit of ground right now to Brian Yasek, who rides in fourth. But I've been really impressed with your winner from earlier this season right here at Phoenix and that Slice Pizza Bar machine. Maybe he just needs a long run, Greg, and we haven't had those long runs here tonight that we're expecting. And speaking of long runs, we won't get another one here. Oh, the 29 of Will Warsler caution flag is out, and there was contact as well. Giesi's gone around, and Warsler's gone around in turn number 1. So accidents happening on turn number 4 and turn number 1. We'll see what brought out the caution first. It was the 77 of DC who went around. Not sure if he got a little bit of help, but then further up the field, the 8 and the 29 had it coming together, and Warsler backs it into the outside wall. A lot of damage on that Chevy. And Greg, just as I was mentioning Will Warsler, commentator's curse strikes again.
We have Will Warsler now having issues in the 29. Contact with McKee. We go on board. Excuse me, that's on another one. That was on board Giesi. There's the contact with Warsler and McKee. And unfortunately, Will Warsler will not, looks like, repeat here at Phoenix after the win back in the spring. Taking one more look at the aerial coverage in the number 29. Going to have a lot of work cut out for him in the number 29, and maybe coming down just a hair there on the number 8. No judging here, of course, but I don't know. You can definitely argue both sides here.
I have seen that accident here at Phoenix many, 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 many times. Exactly what happened there between the 8 and the 29. This racetrack, with the way you get into turn number 1, like I've mentioned this a couple times here tonight, there's a couple of different ways to run these corners, and they sometimes balance out with one another. You got the hard in, you got the late apex, you got the diamond. All of those things seem to work here at this racetrack. And what happens is sometimes you get drivers on different wavelengths. You got one driver who likes to do that late apex, and then you have the one driver who likes to diamond the corner, really charge it into the corner hard. And if one car is on the outside and one car is on the inside and they're not on the same wavelength, that can happen. I'm sure Warsler probably expected the 8 to be a little bit lower on the racetrack. I'm sure the 8 didn't expect Warsler to turn in when he did. And it's just one of those things where two cars have it coming together, and that happens here at Phoenix. Now, it does look like Jimmy McKee will be given an end of longest line penalty, as well as Alex Giesi here. So I believe that looks like Jimmy McKee will be starting tail end of the longest line. Also getting word that the 77 of Alex Giese will be packing it up. His night will come to an end here, I believe. In race officials asking him to pull over and head down pit road. So I'm sure he'll be issued a black flag here shortly if he does not head down pit road. But let's see if we can get a quick word here, Greg, with Grant Brown of Dirty Bird Sim Racing.
Grant Brown, Greg runs through ITV. Got a copy?
Yes, I do.
Hey, Grant, you had a little one-finger salute to your crew chief about 30, 40 laps ago on pit road, but ever since then, it seems like it's been motivating you as you've fought your way up here in the second now.
Yeah, I had to start making my own calls here, so adjusted the line a little bit and gotten a little better.
So the crew chief fired mid-race. Hey, you've done a nice job getting yourself up in the second. Do you think you got something here for Evans on this restart, or are you just going to kind of pick your moment later on in the race?
We still got 50 to go and another set of tires sitting in the pits yet, so we're going to kind of bide our time here and just kind of go where the cards fall.
All right, Grant, closing in on the final quarter of this race, the fourth quarter, if you will. Good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you much.
All right, we'll move him back to his Dirty Bird Sim Racing teammates. Of course, the number one, Jason Stewart, also running there in the 7th position as of right now. So a pretty good night here so far for Dirty Bird Sim Racing. But Greg, we're about to go back to green flag action here very shortly.
Getting set to come to green here. Greg Evans, Grant Brown, Brian Yazik, Brian Yazik on the outside of Adam Jersky, excuse me. How about Jason Stewart, by the way? He's quietly worked his way up into 6th now here, Peter, as we get ready to take this green flag.
Yeah, and also seeing that Alex Giese has not heeded the black flag just yet, so we'll see. It looks like he's been showing the official black flag right now by the in-race officials in the 77, so we'll see if and when he pulls off the racetrack. Back there, looks like he's letting everyone by, and I expect to see him on pit road here this lap. Jordan Harnish trying to work his way back through the field. A lot of rear-end damage on the number 32. He's back there around 11th, but we got a good battle right mid-pack right now. The 55 of Brian Yazik going to power around the outside of Adam Jersky. So move Jersky in the number 69 Beef Jersey's Cheesecake back to 4th, and the HPPsimulation.com Ford Loud Pedal Motorsport machine of the 55 now going to be up there in the top 3 with now 50 laps to go here at Phoenix.
Yazik in the number 55 has done a fantastic job in this late season stretch. Did not make it through to the championship round, but boy, for a while at the start of the playoffs, we were looking at Brian Yazik as a dark horse for the championship with how well he was stringing together races near the end of the season here in the number 55. Another driver, Peter, who we're going to have to keep an eye on moving forward here. Alex Giese finally serving that penalty on pit road in the number 77 as the battle beginning to heat up for a second. Jimmy McKee, it was issued some kind of penalty on that restart, but it has been waived, so I'm not sure what happened on McKee to get the black flag on the restart, but it was reviewed and rescinded, so McKee able to catch a break in the number 8, settling into 7th.
And look at John Jenkins. He pitted 22 laps ago, just after Greg Evans did. He's now got himself up into the 4th position with a pass on the number 69 of Adam Jersky. So Jenkins again charging through the field. I don't think anyone in the entire field, Greg, has passed more race cars than this man that you see right here, the number 7 of John Jenkins, trying to run down the 55 of Yazik once more. Grant Brown in front of him, and of course your race leader of Greg Evans. We're hearing right now that Brian Yazik in the number 55 is your biggest mover of the race so far, plus 14 positions. He qualified 17th. In fact, I don't think he qualified. He didn't put in a qualifying time at all in that 55. He just started back in 17th. He's now up to 3rd and trying to make a move on Grant Brown as he closes in on the back of that 52.
And he's going to get a run here going into turn number 3. Yazik trying to get the 2nd spot. Oh, Brown shuts the door in the number 52. And Yazik has to check up to avoid running into the back of him. Big slide out of Jimmy McKee behind this. as he's in the battle with Jason Stewart in the number 1. Jenkins now taking a peek to the inside of Yazik. We go on board with the Stew here in the number 1, trying to hold off Jimmy McKee in the number 8. McKee again, a playoff driver, and much like Adam Jersey was looking for a Hail Mary to try to get up there and finish second in the points. All 4 playoff drivers have had outstanding runs here tonight, Peter. You can't ask for a better championship race for these guys. All 4 of them still well inside the top 10 right now.
Yeah, without a doubt. That number 8 machine still trying to get his way back up towards the front. Remember early on, Greg, when we saw our top 4 in points, 1, 2, 3, 4 out there on the racetrack, that was a sight to see. Currently running 1st, 4th, 5th, and 7th, with a couple of interlopers in between, Grant Brown, Brian Yazik, and Jason Stewart in that number 1 machine. But as of right now, Grant Brown still holding on to that 2nd position over Brian Yazik, but John Jenkins is now starting to close in on the back of the 55.
Jenkins was putting pressure on a few laps ago. He is moving to the bottom now in the number 7, trying to take a little bit of a lower entry. You see it again there. Yazik about half a groove up on the yellow line, where Jenkins with the left side tires right on the yellow line. And Jenkins, again, we talked about how consistent he was this entire season, Peter. Being able to lead with points for 25 of 26 races. Outstanding effort by John Jenkins in the number 7. Unfortunately going to come up a little bit short here, as again Greg Evans unofficially has it locked up in the number 2, but nothing can be taken away from John Jenkins the way he ran this season.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, getting wins at Rockingham, Talladega, he got that win at Richmond, got that win at Indy, which was the 2nd win of the season. Man, when he came out of the gate to pick up his 1st win of the season in the very 2nd race at Las Vegas back on February 18th, I was like, man, Jenkins is going to have a fantastic run. He's going to start just racking up the wins. But it was a long time. We had to wait all the way to Indianapolis, which was mid-season, and then he kind of knocked off a couple of wins right there towards the latter half of the playoffs. And man, I thought Jenkins was going to be... Oh, was that a car going around? It looked like a car going around. It's the 1 and the 32, both going around. Caution flag back in the air. And that's Jordan Harnish with a very torn up race car. Looks like Stewart possibly able to get away with not a lot of damage. Let's see this one here on the replay.
Taking a look at the replay. This is going into turn number 1. Young, Stewart, Harnish. Ooh. They just get together. Stewart looked like he was just trying to let them in as Harnish had the position, and unfortunately, they just came into the same piece of real estate.
Man, I don't know if Stewart even realized that the 32 was down there. Didn't really give him much of a lane. Yes, it was a late lunge by the number 32, but man, heavy hit for Jordan Harnish, which is not the first time we've seen that 32 involved in an accident here tonight. Let's see this one from possibly the blimp cam, because we'll go on board with the number 1 machine here. Oh, there we go. There's the blimp cam. There we go. Back on board with the one. Our producer there just kind of trying to fake me out, but you can kind of see there, folks. It didn't look like Stewart gave the 32 much of a lane. Yes, it was a bit of a dive bomb by the 32, but it looked like the 32 was down there holding his line. Here we go. We'll see this one from the blimp cam, and watch this huge lunge by the 32 of Harnish. Yeah, that's a huge lunge. I don't think the one as Stewart was expecting that late lunge, and they make that contact there.
And that's what leads to another caution. We have cars on pit road, and it's a mixed bag, Peter, because we have drivers on pit road, drivers staying out. 5 drivers stayed out on the track right now. So, mixed bag here moving forward in the crunch time here at Phoenix.
And now the big question is going to be Brian Yazik in the 55 machine. I know he still has a set of tires on pit road. John Jenkins, I think he's out of tires right now in the number 7. As the race off pit road appears to be able to go to Greg Evans, because I'm getting word that Jenkins has been on pit road 4 tires. They had 4 sets of tires on pit road 4 times. He's been on pit road 4 times, 4 sets of tires on pit road here tonight. Of course, 5 sets of tires total if you include the set of tires that they started on. So I think Jenkins is out of tires. Brian Yazik, on the other hand, in the 55 HPPSimulation.com Ford, he's only been on pit road 3 times, so presumably he still has a set of tires on pit road that he's elected to save here for the final few laps. And folks, that's not a bad call in my opinion by that 55 to save that set of tires. Meanwhile, Greg Evans, that was his final time on pit road. Adam Jursky, that was his final set of tires. Alan Young, final set of tires. So I think the only driver pretty much in the entire field that still has a set of tires left is the number 55 of Brian Yazik. And Greg, let me see if we can quickly get a word with the number 55 machine, because I'm gonna be curious to see if he has something to say in that Loud Pedal Motorsports race card there, Greg.
Brian Yazik, Greg runs 3YTV, got a copy.
Yes, sir.
Well, Brian, we are doing the math up here. We believe you have one more set of tires on pit road, if our math stands correct. So we got to ask, are you turning the gears in your head, thinking up a strategy here, or are you just going to try to run it out to the end?
You know, we're just going to kind of unfold as we roll here. We got 35 laps to go this time, this HPP Mustang. I mean, I don't know if we were going to beat them doing exactly what they did, so let's try it. I think they're going to get me, but we just got to let it roll on the other side here.
All right, well, lights are off on the pace track, so we'll let you get back at it. But Brian Yazik leading the way late. Crunch time here. Good luck the rest of the way.
All right, well, that is going to do it for that quick interview with the number 55 machine. And I got to say, Greg, like he mentioned, he didn't think he was going to beat them doing what they were doing, so he's going to do something a little bit off strategy. 40 laps on his tires when we go back to green. Compare that with these cars who just came off pit road a couple laps ago. Yazik's going to be hurting. He's going to have to need an opportune yellow to try and get the checkered flag here tonight in the number 55 machine. But the green flag going to wave once again. He gets an early jump in that 55 machine. He is out front. But here we go. First man on fresh tires, the number 2 of Greg Evans. Watch him make quick work of the number 29 machine using those fresh tires. Drops to the inside, drops to the bottom of the dog leg, and he's going to try and pick up the third position here with 35 laps to go. 3 wide back in the pack. That's the 52, and the Ada McKee's in the outside wall. We're still 3 wide. How about this? They finally get back to double file, but that was a very hairy moment mid-pack.
Yeah, taking a look at the 3YTV replay, you saw it at the top of our screen there. What happened here? Ooh, contact there between McKee and is that Digby underneath him. Wow, what a job by McKee there. No contact there in the number 8 to get the wall. Boy, how in the world did he pull that one off?
I don't know, but definitely good job to keep all those cars pointed in the right direction. Meanwhile, up at the front, Brian Yazik has been caught by the fresh tires of the 2 of Greg Evans. And whoa, Yazik, a big slide there coming out of turn number 2. That's going to open up the door for the 2 of Evans, who definitely got a better launch off that corner. They're going to be side by side in here into turn number 3. Yazik's got to be careful right now. He's got to be careful on those older tires to not overdrive the race car. It is so tempting as a race car driver to overdrive, especially when you have drivers around you on fresh tires. But Yazik now going to slide into second. Greg Evans back up to the point of the field where he's been pretty much all night long. And look at the number 69 of Adam Jursky. He's trying to get to the outside of this man who we ride on board with, the number 7 of John Jenkins. So Jursky here trying to make some noise in the last portion of the race. Now coming to 31 laps to go here at Phoenix, and only 31 laps left here in the Hacksaw PC's Premier Cup Series Championship here in tonight's American Regardless 200.
Top 5 breaking away here, Peter, as Evans leads the way. Then Yazik 3 wide, breaking out for third behind him. Grant Brown with a dive to the inside of the 7 of Jenkins and Jursky. Oh, but Grant Brown having connection issues right as he completes the pass. Connection issues starting up on the 52. We're going to have to keep an eye on that. He makes the pass for the third position, but 2 big blinks in the 52. What's going to go on here? We got to watch that with 30 to go.
And how about this? The battle for second in points between the number 69, the 7, and the 8. They're currently running all together on the racetrack. 4th, 5th, and 6th right now as we go on board with the number 7 of Jenkins right behind the number 69. Remember, Jenkins is on older tires on that race car. He has 41 laps on those Goodyear tires. Is up for second. There goes the 52 of Grant Brown diving underneath the 55 of Yazik. And now the big question is going to be, Greg, when do you expect to see the 55 of Yazik? When do you think is the best time for a yellow for the 55 of Yazik? Do you think maybe 10 laps to go, 15 laps to go? Because remember, he's still got a fresh Goodyear tire sitting on pit road that he can use to his advantage in the closing laps.
15 cars on the lead lap. I'm going to say 20 to go. That's when I would want to see a caution. 20 to go. I think that's just enough time for him to fly through the field. 15 cars, I think it's going to take him a little bit more than that. I think 20 laps to go would be when I would want to see a caution.
Yeah, you definitely think that they're going to get harder to pass the higher up in the field you get. That's typically how it goes here in racing. So that number 55, though, still holding on to the 4th position, at least for now. He is under fire from the number 7 of Jenkins, as Jenkins gets a little bit slippery to go. 15 to go is the producer's call, as here comes the 8 of McKee. He's going to drop to the inside, and we're 3 wide. How about this? 3 wide for the 4th position. McKee is going to back off on entry into turn number 3, but Yazik in that 55, Greg, he is notorious for being a very tough driver to pass. Is the 8? Oh, McKee! McKee's going around, and looks like the 24 of Alan Young, and caution flag waves here at Phoenix, and it looks like Will Worsler's involved. Sam Crow in the 5. We haven't mentioned Crow's night all night long. He's been having a really quiet night. He might have got a piece of that one as well. But let's see this. I think the number 8 just had a little bit too much beans coming out of the corner, got into a tank slapper, and there the 24. Oh, man, the 44 of Whiting also getting involved just a little bit into the inside wall. And, man, Sam Crow barely scooting past that one.
Nice job by Crow in the 5 to dodge that one. Taking another look. This is on board with the McKee lawn care of Jimmy McKee. Or McKee lawn care of Chevy, Jimmy McKee. And right there, we're going to do it again, so get ready. It was a wiggle and a giggle and a bobble and a jiggle, which led to the caution there by Jimmy McKee. And he went around, got to Alan Young, Will Worsler, and here Sam Crow did get a piece of it. One more look on board with the McKee lawn care Chevy. Actually, this is on board with Will Worsler in the number 29.
Yeah, and just, man, Worsler nowhere to go. Track was completely blocked, and the number 8 was coming back up the racetrack. Definitely not the night that Will Worsler was hoping for. Of course, he won here at Phoenix earlier this year. Here we go on board with Sam Crow in the number 5. We'll see this all unfold in front of him. You can't really see it until that moment right there, and whoa, barely scooting through there, and yeah, make that into a chicane. And I think he somehow just barely scooted through. And how about the number 24 of Alan Young? He was able to kind of get through on that one as well. So, I mean, Young was definitely turned around, but he was able to recover pretty quickly and not lose a whole bunch of track position in that 24 race car. He kind of just did a 360 and got back going. So good job there by Alan Young to stay inside the top 10 in the 24 car. But now the big question is going to be that, number 55, he's come down to take tires. He has about 14 lap fresher tires than the leaders. Is it too early? Is it too late? We'll have to find out here with that number 55 machine when we go back green.
We'll see how it goes. I think this can still work because he's going to have just enough time. Our producer says he thinks it's too early. Not going to be a big enough tire advantage in the number 55. He agrees with the call. Unfortunately, he says the timing not working out on the 55. Doesn't think he's got enough of an advantage on the tires to get through these 15 cars.
Well, you know what? The thing is that a couple of other cars came down pit road because a couple of other cars got damaged. So the 55 of Yazik here is going to be restarting in 11th when we go back green here shortly. So I think that's going to work out for him. He's on the inside groove. He's got those fresher tires. And I think we're going to see that 55 hard charging to get himself back up into the top 5. I wouldn't be at all surprised if he walks away with a top 5. Not 100% sure he's going to be able to walk away with a win, but if he gets a couple of cautions to bring down the gap, I mean, we could have green-white checkers here to close out the season here in the Hacksaw PC's Premier Cup Series. The American Regardless 200 might be the American Regardless 200 plus some here tonight. So definitely a lot still to be told here in the closing 22 laps as they go across the stripe here shortly. But Greg, we've seen a lot of great finishes this season in this series. I'm expecting another one here tonight.
22 laps to go this time by. I believe the lights on the pace truck are out, which will stack them up again. Greg Evans has been the dominant car, unofficially your champion in the number 2. Grant Brown in second. Adam Jersky, John Jenkins third. Peter, we haven't talked about this yet. I don't think it's going to come into effect, but there's another little detail that we might have an issue if we keep going yellow here before too long. Take a look up in the time limit. We are less than a half hour left in the 2-hour, 20-minute time limit in this session. So I think we're still good, but if we keep seeing yellows here and we run out of time, this could also start playing a factor in it if they're not careful.
Yeah, we'd have to have a lot of yellows to close out this race. It's not possible because these yellow flag laps are about a minute long. So definitely something that could happen if cautions start to breed cautions. But the green flag is back in the air, and the number 2 of Greg Evans once again with a pretty big jump. In fact, he kind of laid back a little bit and got Grant Brown sleeping just a little bit before they got into turn number 1. And now we ride on board with the 55 machine of Yazik. He's going to try and pick his way up through the field. In the 55, drops down there below the dogleg. The dogleg is going to be his friend in the closing laps, Greg, because he's going to be able to go down there, get that run coming out of turn number 2, and try and close on the back of the cars and really make the moves. As you see him there again trying to make a move in the back of the picture on the number 28 of Troy Haight.
Already up to the 9th position, make it 8th as he gets around Troy Haight. Now going for 7th with Michael Whiting on the outside now. The Stu behind him, Jason Stewart in the 1, also trying to climb through the field. He was on pit road for an extra set of tires as well, but he has quite a bit of damage on the number 1, trying to bring Dirty Bird Sim Racing up through the field. Loud Pellet Motorsports, though, Brian Ozick climbing through the field, going after the 5 of Sam Crow. This will be for 6th, and he is charging through the field, and I gotta say, the more I'm looking at it, the more I think those extra laps are indeed going to be helping Brian Yazik in that number 55, because we know it's going to be difficult to get around this guy right here, Greg Evans in the 2, and company in front of him. He's up to 6th. I think those extra few laps is going to be exactly what he needed in that 55.
Well, now that he's got a little bit of clean air on the nose of that 55 HPP simulation.com forward as he has a slide coming out of turn number 2. That's not going to help his cause, as he's actually going to lose ground on the backstretch to the number 24. He's got to be careful. He has to keep those rear tires underneath him because, you know, we've talked about it a couple times this season, Greg. When you get those rear tires hot, it's a snowball effect because you overheat the rear tires, they get slippery, so you slide the rear tires more, so they get hotter, so they get even more slippery. So Yazik has to be patient as a big wiggle out of the number 7 of John Jenkins right in front of the number 69 of Adam Jersky. Remember, Jersky and Jenkins are trying to battle for that 2nd position in points, which is a payout. And here comes Brian Yazik now underneath the number 24 of Alan Young. He's got the freshest tires in the field. Yazik going for a 5th position. What a climb through the field this has been for Yazik.
By the way, the 4th Amigo in the playoffs, Jimmy McKee, has loaded it up and called it a day in the number 8. He is out of the race. He is going to finish 4th in points unofficially here in this one. Yazik to the inside of Jenkins after getting around Young. And Brian Yazik to 4th. He's slicing through the field in that HPP Simulations Mustang. Big slide out of Jenkins and a bigger slide from Young. That's going to bring out a caution.
The 24 of Alan Young and the 1 of Jason Stewart have a coming together, and both of those cars heavy damage. And the 1, what a heartbreak for him. He was on fresher tires. He'd actually saved a set of tires on that number 1 machine to the end. And I think the 24 just broke loose like what we've seen a couple times here tonight. And unfortunately, the number 1, an innocent bystander, and the 24 there of Alan Young, too much beans coming out of the corner. Let's go on board here with the number 1 of Stewart. I don't think there was any contact here, Greg. I think that 24 just broke loose just a little bit. And you could see Young tried to, Stewart tried to check up, but just couldn't do so in time. And that brings us back under caution. And that, I think, is going to be helpful for the 55 of Yazik because he's on those fresher tires. And the front driver's going to be all packed together for this restart here upcoming in just a little bit.
And now he's going to be right up there alongside Jersky with Brown and Evans in front of him in that 55. We're going to have roughly 10 laps to go when we take the restart here, Peter. So 10 laps to go. Going to be restarting tentatively outside row number 2. Think he's got enough time to get up there with Evans?
Man, I think he does. But if we get some cautions breeding more cautions, that could work against him. We'll just have to wait and find out. Alan Young will be restarting end of the longest line, but that number 24 is definitely looking a little bit worse for where he's on pit road right now with Michael Whiting and the number 44 Brookside Equipment Sales Machine. We haven't really mentioned the 44 much here tonight, but he's put together a good run. Oh, Alan Young's number 24 machine, it just blew up when he got to his pit box. And you can see the smoke billowing out the front end of that number 24 Young Gun Creations Chevy Camaro. That crew going to have to go to work to try and get that engine back in one piece. So that could be day done for Alan Young in that number 24 machine. AJ Digby also elected to come down pit road, get some damage repaired on that race car. It hasn't been the night he's been looking for. But, Greg, I'm ready for a little bit of a shootout in the desert to close out the 2020 Hacksaw PC's Premier Cup Series. It's going to be a wild finish, folks. Don't go anywhere here on YouTube. Make sure to like the video. Definitely helps out the American Sim Racing Series. Definitely want to increase the exposure of the American Sim Racing Series, and liking the video is one way to do that here on 3Y TV. It also helps out the channel. And make sure you hit that subscribe button as well so you don't miss any American Sim Racing Series races. It's going to be a star-studded lineup for 2021. I'm very much looking forward to it, Greg. Should be a lot of new racetracks and a lot of hard racing that we've come to see out of these American Sim Racing Series drivers. But a little bit of connection issues there for the number 52 of Grant Brown. Right now to the outside of the number 2. We'll have to see if that cleans up when we go back green here shortly. But probably a little bit unnerving for Grant Brown.
Second round of those connection issues, Peter, in that number 52. We saw it a moment ago, back when he was up in the top 5, had those connection issues. So happening again for the 52 of Brown. Lights are going to, I believe, go out on the pace truck this time, which means we will have 10 laps to go when we take the green flag. Evans, Brown, Jersky, Yazik, and Jenkins, your top 5. 5 cars right there. You can factor in Troy Haight and others as well. Look at Mark Myers up to 7th. Was 2 laps down at one point, Peter. He is up to 7th in the 04.
That's pretty awesome to see. You're right. He got a couple of lucky dogs, able to get himself back up there on the lead lap. In fact, right now we only have 12 cars on the lead lap here tonight. Michael Whiting and the Brookside Equipment Sales 44 is hustling his way through turn number 1 and 2. He's going to try and get himself a top 10. Alan Young in the number 24 machine, he has packed it up, and he will go to the garage. Only 12 cars out there on the racetrack, but a 10-lap shootout to decide who's going to win the American Regardless Season Finale 200. Pace truck headed down pit road, folks. Get up out of your seats, because this is going to be a wild finish out at Phoenix International Raceway in the desert. Greg Evans gets us back to green flag, and look at the number 55 of Brian Yazik all over the back bumper of the number 52. He's going to dive to the inside. Remember, he has 14 lap pressure tires in these cars around him. He's making them to good use. Brian Yazik the second.
And none of these drivers have any tires left on pit road. Crossover by Grant Brown in the 52 to go after Yazik. He pushes up the track. Fortunately for him, Yazik was clear. Yazik has a little bit of a heart attack there in the mirrors. So now, Peter, he's up to second and looking right at the number 2 of Greg Evans. 11 wins on the season for Evans. Yazik in the 55, just 1 win. That came at Kentucky, but he had such a strong race at Darlington. A very strong first round of the playoffs. Unfortunately, he just came up a little bit short of the round of 4. But Brian Yazik has put together a great final few races. He is coming up in the number 55. Under 20 minutes to go in the time limit, but we have 8 laps to go in this one. I think we're good there. Yazik took a big chunk out of the lead that last time by. Yazik is coming, Peter.
Yeah, and I'm really surprised Yazik isn't cutting the dog leg. We see the number 2 of Evans there cutting the dog leg in front of him. And I would kind of expect Yazik to cut it just a little bit to try and shorten up the lap. But if you watch those hands, he just a little bit free coming out of the corner. Of course, we've seen that quite a bit here tonight. Evans with a little bit of a slide there going off into turn number 1. Just enough to get that car yawed out just a little bit, as they're going to come to only 6 laps to go. Yazik not able to close in that last time by a significant amount, but now Evans washes up the racetrack in turn number 3 and 4. Yazik right down there on the low line, and it looks like the two got a huge launch coming out of turn number 4, and it looked like that last time by, the 2 of Evans was able to stretch it out just a little bit, and Evans back up to about a half-second race lead. And again, Evans cuts that dog leg. Yazik, is those fresh tires, fresher tires on the 55, have they lost their good stuff?
They have. Look at AJ Digby coming through the field now in the 14. He's going for 5th inside of John Jenkins. He is on some fresher tires as well in the 14. He had a set of tires left. He's trying to charge through the field here, Peter. Late in the going, 5 laps to go. Can Digby get up on the podium?
I'll tell you what, if Digby can get past these 2 cars in front of him, and if he can catch a caution, he could be in contention for running away with the win here tonight. But he's got only a couple laps left to do so. He's going to need a very opportune caution flight to come out. Up at the front, Greg Evans continues to pull away just a little bit over Yazik. Yazik's charge through the field looks like it's going to come up a little bit short. 4 laps to go, and look at this battle back here now for the 3rd position. Here comes Digby underneath Jersky, but Jersky's going to go to the high side of the 52 of Brown. This is some good battling for the last podium position. Remember, Jersky is trying to get the 2nd position in points. If I'm Jersky right now, man, I might want to finish 3rd, but what's more important is staying in front of John Jenkins, who's 1 car behind him. In points, you don't want to get involved in an accident. AJ Digby's going to get underneath the 52, and now is when AJ Digby needs that caution flag because he's on fresh tires. He's faster than the 2 cars in front of him. There's just not enough laps to catch the top 2.
He's going to need a caution in the next lap, Peter, because we have 2 laps to go for the number 2 of Greg Evans. Brian Yazik may have used up just a little bit too much in that number 55, trying to get through the field. Coming through. Watch for him to try the dog leg here. Nope. Surprised he hasn't tried it yet. He's going to give it one big shot here on the final lap. You can guarantee that as they come around off of turn number 4. Greg Evans, unofficially your champion. Going to see the white flag for the final time in 2020.
The number 2 of Greg Evans, 11 wins to this point, trying to pick up win number 12, only 1 lap away. Brian Yazik, who could be a bridesmaid once more here in the Hacksaw PC's Premier Cup Series, but it is all looking good for win number 12 for the number 2. Your 2020 Hacksaw PC's Premier Cup Series champion, Greg Evans, comes out of the final corner, picks up win number 12 of the American Regardless 200. He's your champion, Greg Evans. Duct tape on the hood. Doesn't need any duct tape on that car. It is perfectly nice and clean. 3 kazoos for Greg Evans here tonight. Wow, what a way to make a statement. You can see all of the checkered flags behind his name. I think he was running out of space on that number 2 machine to plop another checkered flag symbol. But wow, Greg, I gotta say, I think Greg Evans has very much earned this championship. Great job for that number 2 team.
Outstanding effort by Greg Evans all day long. Your 2020 unofficial, of course, Hacksaw PC's Premier Series champion. Does it in dominating style. Wins race number 12 on the season. Sam Crow comes up, gives him a congratulations. He is going to light it up here in victory lane for the 12th time here tonight. Your race winner and your champion, Greg Evans, burning it down here in the Arizona desert. Off in the sunset, your 2020 Hacksaw PC Premier Series champion.
And he inches 1 win closer to Jim Foose in the all-time win list coming into tonight. Jim Foose, 115 wins. Greg Evans, now 83 wins in the American Sim Racing Series all-time win list, folks. That definitely tells you how old the American Sim Racing Series is. It's a very prestigious championship to win, especially the Premier Cup Series, with all of these drivers in this series being very, very good. And Greg Evans showing that he's not only very good at winning races, but also very good at burnouts and blowing motors there, as it just gave way right there at the end of that one. And Greg, I did a little bit of sleuthing work during the week, and I found out that the American Sim Racing Series is the oldest still running iRacing league out of all of them. There were over 5,000 iRacing leagues. This one was number 18. 1 through 17 no longer exist or were test leagues back in the day when iRacing was putting leagues together to begin with. It's the oldest iRacing league and a very prestigious championship, and Greg Evans is going to pick it up here tonight.
Evans gets it done. Second on the all-time win list, leads the series in wins this year with 12, and wins the Hacksaw PC's Premier Series Championship. Great season for Greg Evans. Amazing season all year long for the Hacksaw PC's Premier Series. And we're not even going to cut to commercial. We're going to go talk to our champion right now, Peter Short, heading down the victory lane because he's going to catch up right now with your 2020 champion, Greg Evans.
Well, this is awkward because he's not even in the Discord yet.
Well, he's on his way down.
Yeah,
we're down. Our producer jumping the gun there. So we are going to cut to commercial. For the final time this season for the ASRS, don't go away because when we come back, it's the 3-Wide Post-Race Show, and we're going to catch up with our top 3, including our champion, Greg Evans.
Life happens everywhere. Like it never even happened, only happens here. The cleanup and restoration specialists at 1-800-SERVPRO and servpro.com.
Welcome to Sliced Pizza Bar, where we're passionate about great pizza. All of our food is made fresh daily using only the finest ingredients and techniques. Our chefs put their heart and soul into each pie, and we're sure you'll taste the difference. Located on both Indian Rocks and Madeira beaches, chances are we're right around the corner for your next pizza night or dinner date. Come give us a try and experience the slice difference.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Phoenix International Raceway, where tonight's American Regardless 200 Championship finale has come to a close, and also bringing a close to the 2020 Hacksaw PC's Premier Cup Series Championship. And the first driver we're going to interview is the second place in points, the runner-up in points, none other than the number 69 of Adam Jersky, and Greg Rentz has caught up with him.
And Adam Jersky getting a top 5 on the night, unofficially second in the championship. You said you were just going to throw a Hail Mary and see what you can do, and here you are, second place in points, and you did it via points racing. You didn't win a race this season, but to finish second, amazing job for you.
Thanks, Greg. I appreciate it. This is it's a great way to end the season. This was my first race I put together from start to finish. Qualified well, and I don't think I was ever really outside the top 5 except for a couple laps during pit stops. So it was really, really good to end the year on a high note. Just have everything come together, not have any crazy strategy, knock us out or anything, and really just be up here the whole race, just purely based on speed, and then to finish second over the whole season is really exciting. I definitely didn't expect that coming into this year, and especially after the first few races, because I was just having terrible luck. So to end up second is really, really exciting.
And Adam, talk to us about that playoff push. We talked about it in the pre-race show, but man, once those playoffs started, you came alive in the number 69 car, getting that second place at Bristol. Great finishes at Talladega, Las Vegas, among others, to lock into the championship, and then finding yourself in the championship four. Just tell us about how everything came together for you in those playoffs. You talked about it a little bit there, but I think the viewers at home want to know what clicked in the 69 camp moving into the playoffs.
I think just the playoffs had a lot of tracks that suited me well. Also, as I said earlier, had luck to definitely get to this point, but just a lot of the tracks that were in the playoffs really suited me well, or I felt that I could compete with at a pretty decent level. So just having all those things combined, and then really just putting in the time outside of Tuesday to really kind of get these tracks nailed down much better than what I had been doing earlier, that really helped. It's amazing what a few laps outside of Tuesday can do for your race. It really helps.
Well, you just mentioned how the extra practice helps out. Moving into next year, is that something we're going to see more often out of the number 69 car moving forward in the 2021 Hacksaw PC's Premier Series?
Yeah, I think so. I think this race really was a confidence booster for me, just to kind of show that I could come out here and have some good speed and run in the top 5 for the whole race, because I really didn't feel I had it earlier in the year, but I also, the effort wasn't there either a whole lot outside of Tuesday. So just knowing that I can do it will for sure be a motivator moving forward in the next year, to really focus on the tracks that are coming up and really get the line down, and to pick up those little bit of speed that you need to push into the next level and get top 5s and potentially wins.
Well, Adam, second place in points tonight this season on an amazing playoff push. It's your final chance this season to thank your sponsors. So who helped you get here in the number 69 car?
Yeah, got to thank Hacksaw PC for sponsoring this series this year. Great, even though we fell short of the main prize, it was great to be able to race for that. So thanks to them, and of course have to thank Beef Jerky's Cheesecake Emporium on the car, and then everyone that's helped me in different ways, from Harness also running the Beef Jerky scheme, and my teammates Ricky Stallings, Michael Whiting, and JR Bash. They've been a great help this year.
5th place in the race, second in points, Adam Jersky getting it done at Phoenix. An amazing job, amazing season. Congratulations.
Yep, thanks, guys.
All right, well, that is going to do it with your interview of your runner-up in points. But now let's talk to your top 3. Let's first talk with AJ Digby in the number 14 machine. And AJ, man, you kind of snickered all of us out in up here in the 3Y TV booth, because we all kind of expected you to not have any tires, but it looked like you had a set of tires that you saved right there for the end, and you were hard charging up through the field, and you were able to get up into the top 3. Tell us about your 9 and that hard charge through the field right there at the end.
Yeah, I didn't put enough practice in to be really comfortable or good in the long runs, and that's is like that 30 lap long run over and over early on, and it was just a bunch of little mistakes where I would nip the wall here or there and just kept taking the damage repair, so I was mitered towards the back of the field. And once we got to about halfway, everybody was pretty much at the same strategy at that point, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go a little bit off strategy here. And so I was first going for a little bit of a fuel save. I was thinking 85 to 90 is the fuel window. We restarted with about 95 to go. So I was really just kind of coasting and like, hey, like we'll throw in a fuel save and see what happens. And then caution came out, and essentially just things led to another where at one point I was like, you know what, I'm gonna stay out here. I know I'll be slower, but I want to save a set and go off strategy because why not? And got turned around in that thing. Got kind of punted a little bit from behind, but because I was able, and then I still stayed out on those tires for a little bit longer. And then once I put on that set, then I went slow early on with that set so I could make that one last as long as possible. And essentially early on, I was just popping in, taking fuel and damage repair, and didn't take tires probably when everybody thought I would. And then late in the race, got that caution and was able to take tires, and the field had attritioned out so far that restarted like 10th or 9th, and basically was able to jump up into 3rd. And another caution, I could have potentially had a chance for some of those front few guys, but at the end of the day, it's always good to be on the podium. Especially it's been a while here in the league.
Yeah, definitely a very strong night for the number 14, and great to kind of see your season, really the last half of the season. Of course, you were a late entry into the series, but you were able to pick up your first win back at Iowa. And, looking forward to 2021, there's going to be a lot of interesting races next season, a lot of new races, a lot of new racetracks that we're going to go to. What are your thoughts about 2021?
I'm excited for it. I was only able to jump in halfway, so for the most part, points weren't really a thing other than try to get high enough to get locked in for next year. But like a points championship wasn't possible or any of that. So I was just trying to get a feel for the league, trying to establish kind of a place for me to be running. And I felt like I had a pretty good year, a little bit of ups and downs, some learning moments essentially. Uh, Sometimes qualified too well, sometimes not enough, whatever, back and forth. But I'm excited to be able to put in a full year, hopefully be able to pick up a team and a sponsor and move forward into next year, and have a good year and be able to be in the points battle. I've been in the points battle in every other series I've run, so I'm excited to try to get into it here in this one next year.
Well, hey, you picked up 2 positions in the point standings after tonight. You move up from 19th to 17th. So definitely a strong run out to the end of your season. You only had 22 starts, and you beat a lot of drivers that had more starts than you. So definitely showing that you are very competitive here in the series. Before we let you go, AJ, any shout-outs?
Yeah, I gotta thank Will Warsa Racing and those guys, being able to practice with them each week and learn from them. And really, it started with I volunteered to be their strategist crew chief person early in the year, and was able to see what the league was about, see kind of how it's done, as well as practice with them. And so I got to thank all those guys for helping me get faster, improve, and things like that. I also got to thank you guys for the broadcast each and every single week. It's awesome to be able to go back and watch the races, and excited to watch this one and how I kind of came out of nowhere there and at the end. Got to thank Jim and Sam for running the league and everything that they do with it, and everybody in the league for the racing that we have each and every week. And being able to run in the league is definitely awesome. It's much better than running iRacing official races when you're with the same type of people every single week. So other than that, just everybody who is watching, supporting me, and even the people who were watching for other people, having all your guys' support is awesome. And then congrats to Greg for the race win and the series championship.
Absolutely, AJ. Looking forward to seeing you here in the All-Star event that's going to close out the season here in a couple of weeks' time. But AJ, best of luck until we meet again.
Thank you very much, Peter.
All right, well, that's going to do it for your third place finisher here tonight. And I believe that Greg Rance is caught up with Mr. Brian Yazik.
It actually isn't Greg Rance, it's Carlos Acosta that's catching up with Brian Yazik. Brian, how are you doing today?
Oh, not doing too bad. How about you guys?
I'm glad to hear that, Brian. You had definitely something interesting going on during the last half of the actual race. we were all talking about your pit strategy and just how lucky and in a little bit also just a little bit unlucky things went your way. Initially, Greg was saying you needed 20 laps for the caution to come out. Sorry, 20 laps to go for the caution to come out for you to have a shot. I was saying 15. You ended up getting a restart with 20 to go, but unfortunately, I don't think that was. I don't think they ran enough laps on their tires for that strategy to work out. You ended up running and finishing in second, but just what was going on through your mind those last couple laps when those strategy calls were starting to go your way a little?
You know, like I said, when you guys talked to me, there was 40 to go or so. I wasn't going to win the race doing exactly what the 2 and the 7 and everybody else did. And I thought, well, you know, everybody pitted. I didn't want to pit. I don't want to take that last set of tires until, somewhere around that 25-ish to go. And that was the plan, coming into it for this HPP simulation Mustang. But, then we got clear of it. We got that run, and I figured 20-something laps, 15-lap pressure tires, it was enough to get there. Honestly, the bigger issue was probably just that restart with about 10 to go. I think it evened the tires. It took a heat cycle out, and it didn't have the same go as it did when we were running them down from 10th on back.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you can say what you were saying, but you were definitely holding your own with those old tires. You didn't drop outside the top 5 during that whole run, during those 16 laps, which I would say it's a feat in itself, considering the difference in laps between yours, which is, I believe, in the mid-30s, and the leaders who had fresh tires. You kept yourself in the top 5, and you were holding them up a little, but just doing that was a feat itself. And of course, with the caution coming out in the late 20s to go, just wasn't enough time, and the caution coming out with 10 to go also didn't help your chances either. But still, second place, you can't complain about that. What's the one thing you're going to be looking forward to in this off season, and what's your plan for next year?
Well, this off season, I'll be honest, selfishly, I've been kind of looking forward to getting the racing season over with. My wife and I are expecting our first child February. So
here's a
this is kind of awesome. Hey, yeah. So we're really excited, baby boy. Eventually he'll take the reins, probably be better than dad. But so that's the biggest off-season project. Coming back next year. Mike and I are going to sit down and kind of work on some teams and kind of who we want to go after and kind of how we want to be. There's going to be some changes there, but we'll kind of sort that out when we get there. Still plenty of time until February. But, all in all, it was a great year. Thanks to Sam and Jim and Hacksaw PCs, everybody that makes this whole process go around. Thanks to you guys as well for hanging out and broadcasting us on YouTube. That's kind of wild if you go back and, tell yourself, a couple years ago that you'd be doing this sort of thing. I don't know. Maybe you believe yourself, maybe you wouldn't, but it's cool. So, thank you to you guys and everybody in the league, all of our sponsors, Clipping That Apex, HPP Simulation, Love Pedal Motorsports. We'll be back with a vengeance next year. Shout out to Greg, man. That run at the end, that's why he's the champion. He had the better tire, the lesser tires, and got away from me. So we'll get ready for 2021. And I don't know, maybe we'll have a baby on board sticker on the car in Daytona.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Brian. Good luck with the off season. Good luck with the baby on the way and everything. And hopefully we get to see what you're capable of next season.
Oh yeah, we'll be back. The 55 will be back.
All right. Well, that was Brian Yazik finishing second on the last race of the 2020 season. Now, I believe Peter has caught up not with the champion, but with the league owner and the winningest driver of this series.
Yeah, and that is Jim Foose, Mr. 42, Mr. Menards himself. Jim, been a fantastic season here this year, and I'm very excited to see what 2021 Hacksaw PC's Premier Cup Series Championship has in store as well. What a year. What a season. Every single race has definitely had its twists and turns. and a great group of sponsors have been able to put together this season. Give them a little bit of support before we go any further, because I know they are what makes this possible.
Yeah, each and every single sponsor that we've had on board this year has just elevated the league farther every time that we hit the track. So a big thanks to Hacksaw PCs, Surf Pro down there in Texas. Actually, Shane Parrish, our good buddy from Surf Pro, had an investor come in and buy his franchise, and he's now living the high life down in Florida. So congratulations to Shane. We're really proud of him, and hope to see him back in a car one of these days. Midwest Simulations, spotlights there for Midwest Simulations pole qualifying. Spotlights saved Michael Krobach and got him a truck championship over there on the Wednesday nights. Patriot Media and Marketing, American Regardless, my favorite clothing brand. Dirty Bird Sim Racing, Step Tire, Boswell's Country Road, sponsor of our Thursday Night Thunder Cup Series, or Thursday Night Throwback Cup Series. Kirkwood Transportation, Victory Lane Quick Oil Change, and of course you guys at 3 Wide TV for everything that you do with us.
Yeah, definitely been a long season, but I think it's about time that we drag Greg Evans up here. And Jim, why don't you introduce your 2020 Hacksaw PC's Premier Cup Series champion to everyone?
Well, I lost count of how many wins you had this year, Greg, because there's a lot of stickers on that cars and I ran out of fingers during the race. But congratulations on becoming the 2020 ASRS Hacksaw PC's Premier Cup Series champion.
Just thank you guys so much. It's really an honor. Did a lot of hard work and dedication went into it, and definitely thank Hacksaw PC and Serve Pro for what they did sponsoring the series this year, and man, just and a huge congratulations to Jim and to Sam. It's not easy running a league, but I mean I would recommend this league to anybody. They've done an awesome job. I think they've been fair to everybody, and just thrilled that we was able to pull it off tonight.
Yeah, I mean, a very long season, Greg. I mean, you go all the way back to Daytona when we opened up the season back in February. As a race car driver in real life, it's your job every week, right? You get to the racetrack, at least when you get to the top level. But here in sim racing, it's not your job. It's kind of your side hustle, if you will. How crazy is it to strap into your sim rig once a week, dedicate a couple of hours to this race, and be so dedicated to it? Because that's what it takes here in this series. It takes dedication to be champion. And here you are tonight, 12 wins under your name. Tell the folks watching what goes into this success.
And it's not just showing up one night a week. There's Sunday I got on here. I stayed away from it. I raced a little bit Thursday. I got on here, I think it was Saturday or Sunday. Probably ran 50 laps. I was a little worried because every server I got into was really loose. I ran a race last night just trying to keep my mind off of tonight. And then we got in here about 7:30 today and started turning laps, working on exactly where I wanted to be at. And going over strategy. I mean, it's a lot more work than what people realize. I definitely got to thank my teammates. Loud Pelter Motorsports, we're not real teammates, but me and those guys over there are really good friends and get along. And they practice with me for probably the last 12 weeks, I'd say. So I got to thank those guys too. And, my guys over here, it's just, man, a lot of hard work.
Yeah, without a doubt, a lot of hard work has gone into the championship, Greg. And, you think back to tonight, your 12th win. Do any wins stand out? I mean, this one here, it's kind of like the cherry on top. Does that make this win stand out, or was there another one this season that kind of stood out to you?
And this one's special. I came into the night, kind of knowing where I needed to finish. But man, last week at Martinsville, I had so much going through my mind the week before because I only had, I think it was like 8 or 9 points on Jenkins, and McKee and Jerski were still within striking distance. And I just, especially like we had like 50 laps to go, and I got involved in a wreck and restarted like 17th, and was able to come back and win that race. I really think that's what kind of sealed it. So that's probably the race that stands out the most this year, just because of everything that going back and forth and the pressure that was on all 4 of us drivers. Man, I'm telling you, I don't even, those guys that did it last night, the Coca-Cola Series, with $100,000 on their line, that I'd have been a nervous wreck. I was a nervous wreck today. But man, it's just that's a great feeling. I can finally, kind of rest the night and enjoy it. And just so excited and appreciative to everything that ASRS has done and all the sponsors. And man, it's just, oh man, I can, like I said, I'm ready just to relax this evening.
I'll tell you what. Well, you kind of made it easy, coasting up there, leading 170 of the 200 laps here in tonight's American Regardless 200. Once again, picking up win number 12 this season. And Greg, last week you won that Surf Pro Wheelman Showdown steering wheel, and here tonight picking up a Hacksaw PC, your own brand new computer. I know you probably already have one in your sim rig, but definitely always upgrading. I know that computers are always upgrading. Tell the fans how excited you are to pick up that new piece of hardware.
And the wheel and then the PC at the same time. I told my wife, I've got a little girl on the way in March. I'm still negotiating, hoping that I can race at least one night a week. But she's been amazing. She's been really understanding, and it gives me the time to come in here and practice when I need to. But man, that new PC, I've already been talking to Nick about it. I talked to him about it about 4 weeks ago, and I said, just the rare chance that this all works out for me, and he told me everything, and I was like, wow. I mean, it's definitely an upgrade, and I can't wait. At the first of the year, I almost went out and bought a new computer, and I built one, and I'm so glad I didn't now. It all worked out. But hopefully I can put this other PC away, and it'll still be compatible, and maybe I can get my little girl in a couple years into some racing. And it's man, I just thank God so much.
I'll tell you what, the big story in 5 years is going to be Evan, your daughter, so girl Evans and boy Yazik, battling it out here in the American Sim Racing Series at the age of 5 for a championship. I'm looking forward to that storyline, but we're still a few years off from that one, but looking forward to that, Greg. I know you have a lot of sponsors that have made that number 2 machine possible, so let's hear your thanks for this fantastic season.
I've definitely got to thank Duct Tape and Sure Tape and Freightliner, Detroit Diesel Engines, Alliance Truck Parts, iRacing iFlag, and Carolina SimWorks. Like I said, all my teammates at Steel Horse Racing, and all my guys over here, Sam Crow and John Vinfarellis, and like I said, Loud Pedal, for letting us come in there and practice with them for the last 2 or 3 months. Those guys are a big help as well. And like I said, my wife for letting me come in here and practice. And I almost forgot about it until today. My mom passed away about midway through the season, and I got to dedicate this to her and my little girl on the way. It's been 2020 has been a different year, with a lot of ups and downs. But man, just got to thank God for everything He's done for me, and man, it's just been an amazing year.
Without a doubt, it has. It's definitely going to be a year, a memorable year in many aspects. But hopefully for you, Greg, this is going to be something that you're going to be able to remember for a long time. A good note in 2020 for you and that number 2 crew. And hopefully we'll get to see you back. I think by my math, it was win number 83 83 or 84 here tonight, so closing in on Jim Foose's title. I know Jim's over here shaking in his boots a little bit. Another year of Greg Evans in the league will draw you a little bit closer, more than likely, on Jim. But congratulations on picking up that new Hacksaw PC, and of course the Surf Pro Wheelman Showdown prize, brought to you by Sam Maxwell Customs steering wheels. And Greg, hopefully we'll get to see you back here on 3 Wide TV again in the future, especially for that All-Star race that we have coming up here in a couple of weeks' time.
Yes, sir. I'm definitely planning on being here. Planning on running the All-American 400 in a couple of weeks. And like I said, I always thank you guys for coming in here and broadcasting these races. You know, a lot of guys don't realize what you guys, dedicate each and every week to coming here and doing this for us. It doesn't, and until you run in a broadcast race, you don't really realize how much more this puts to it. This makes it special for all of us. And like I said, thank Jim and Sam again for hosting it and being such good tenants of ASRS. And like I said, they ran a really fair league this year. In my opinion, it's not hard. It is hard being on that side of it. And just thank you, all of you guys.
Absolutely. Well, Greg, go celebrate, go relax, go do whatever you need to do. I know I'd probably go have a beverage myself after that win, but we'll let you go celebrate, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Yes, y'all have a good night.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for your series champion. Now we're, of course, going to turn over to Jim Foose. And Jim, 2021 is upcoming. But before we get to 2021, we have a couple more races to round out the 2020 season here for the American Sim Racing Series, including the All-American 400, as well as the All-Star race in 2 weeks' time. It's going to be on a Wednesday night. And, of course, we got the Boswell's Country Roads Harley-Davidson series finale coming up at Nashville Fairgrounds. Tell us about what we have in store in 2020, and then looking over to 2021.
Yeah, we're going to have a whole lot of the Nashville Fairgrounds here on 3 Wide TV over the next couple of weeks with the Boswell's Country Roads Harley-Davidson TNT series next Thursday night as part of the All-American 400. And then, of course, the All-American 400 is going to switch over to Pit Stop TV on that Saturday night. And then we'll be back with you guys on the Wednesday night for the actual Hacksaw PC's All-Star race. We'll have the All-Star Open the night before for the non-winners this year. But yeah, it'll be kind of strange. It'll be a 3 Wide TV race, and I won't be in the admin booth. I'll be in the race car. So we're kind of excited about that with the Hacksaw PC's All-Star race coming up, and just everything. 2021 looks really good. We've been signing sponsors. Talking to some other potential sponsors, getting the prizes kind of laid out for next year. And Sam and I have been pretty busy the last 4 or 5 weeks, just getting everything put together, dotting the I's, crossing the T's before we wrap up this season and switch into next season.
And I'll tell you what, one thing that I was really impressed with, Jim, was last year. I think it was at Sonoma when we ran a no, it might have been earlier this year at Sonoma. You were already looking forward to 2021. You weren't but halfway through the 2020 season, and you were already looking forward to the next year. A lot of planning goes into this. A lot of planning goes into the prizes to get a prize pool like you do. I mean, there aren't very many leagues. I mentioned earlier, this is the oldest league in iRacing that's still going, and it has a lot of prestige. There's some great prizes. There are some huge sponsors here going on. You rolled them off earlier. And a lot of planning goes into it, and that definitely speaks to what this league is, and gives these drivers a great position to come every week and race.
Yeah, we usually start the 2021 discussion right around the beginning of June, whenever we go into the week 13 break, the end of May, beginning of June time. And what happens is we lay out basically a template of what we expect. Now, this year, with the addition of the what's going to be the Classic Cup Series next year, currently the Thursday Night Throwback Cup, we didn't know what to expect with that series. We didn't know if it was going to have 50 guys a week attempting the race or 15. It's been on the lower side, but we renewed the series because we felt that it provides a great opportunity for new talent to come into the league. It gave us another avenue to have races broadcasted live with you guys. And it's brought a whole bunch of new people into the ASRS fold. So that was one thing that I think whenever we were at Sonoma, we were kind of talking about next year, and it was well, this is dependent on this happening. And then we just made the decision really early, and I think it was actually made before we went to Sonoma, that we were switching days next year to Wednesday night, just to get away from the Coca-Cola series, which takes a lot of viewers away. And, I mean, obviously you want the biggest viewership that you can get, and you want the maximum exposure for your sponsors, because we pretty much beg, borrow. We don't go and steal them, but we'll beg and borrow sponsors like we can and get prizes. And we knock on a lot of doors. We got a couple nice people that open the door, and we got a few that don't open the door. But it's all about knocking on the doors and asking for what we want to have for the league.
Yeah, absolutely. And with the 2021 schedule coming out this week, there's a lot of those races that I'm already penciling, I'm already circling for next year that I'm very excited about. I'm excited to see these cars out there on the racetrack, including the scan of Big Nashville, the 1.33 mile Nashville Super Speedway. And that's going to be fun. Hopefully we can get there. Hopefully iRacing can get that into the service in time. But I'm looking forward to next season already, as the season has come to a close. And all of these drivers out here, folks, if you're watching, their sponsors on their car, they have actually gone out. They have reached out to those sponsors and actually asked for permission to put their sponsors on the car. And in fact, some sponsors actually pay some of these drivers to have their names on these cars. So definitely, viewership's important. Liking the videos is also important. Just to get that out, it helps the YouTube algorithm. Yes, all the YouTubers say that. It's true, and it definitely helps out the American Sim Racing Series as well as we move into 2021. Jim, any final thoughts on the season?
I'm just really thankful to all our great partners that we had this year, and all the drivers that were a part of the Hacksaw PC's Premier Cup Series. We had a great year. We had a growing year. It was a little bit of a building year, but the foundation was there from last year, and that foundation is even stronger going forward. Also want to give a shout out to our viewers that take part in the chat every week. Sometimes it gets pretty funny. Sometimes it gets pretty wild over there, but we're thankful for everybody that watches. I know Nikki Worsler, she's probably the only wife of a driver in the league that actually watches the race. So yeah, that's pretty cool. So, but yeah, thank you guys at 3Wide TV. Thanks Carlos for everything he's done. I'll tell you what, Carlos is, there's times that he sends me messages just with ideas, and it's like, yes, let's do it. Let's do that. Let's do that. Let's hold off on that one. Let's do that. So he's always trying to be cutting edge, and he puts his heart and soul into 3Wide TV, and we're just happy to be with you guys. We're happy with you guys next year for the third year in a row, and just really excited for what 2021 has.
Yeah, now I'll open up the floor to Greg. I do want to make one comment. It's been fantastic getting to know these drivers each and every week and have history behind them going back, now going into the third season next year. Greg, any thoughts for Jim?
Hey, Jim, I just wanted to say thank you for allowing us to be a part of your league and everything that you've done for not just the American Sim Racing Series, but for sim racing in general. We know you're a huge advocate on iRacing, gotten a lot of stuff. I know you played a key part in getting the Ford F-150 on the iRacing finally. So from us at 3Y TV, I just want to say thank you for everything you do, not just for the league itself, but for sim racing as a whole. And thank you so much for everything. We're looking forward to next year.
When I came into this deal, I was the young kid. I was 16, 17 years old when I got into this. And I've watched as the demographic has changed. And there was a time where I was still the kid a couple of years ago. And now, maybe not so much in age, but in the years invested in it, that I've become the quote-unquote old man of sim racing. But I'll take that young old man title. But, the thing that was said to me when I came into it was to leave the place a better place whenever you move on from it. And I've always kind of kept that with me. And everything that I do, I don't do anything when I go and try to beg for a track or try to get the support to get the Ford F-150 done, which really was helped by the COVID, the pandemic and the shutdown and all the quarantining, because the Ford Truck Series drivers weren't allowed to participate in a lot of those the lower NASCAR races that weren't televised, that were still the NASCAR Pro Invitational, because they didn't have the Ford to race. So that kind of helped it along, but we definitely got the ball rolling a little bit. And I wish I could have got the first Ford win over there in the Truck Series, but I'm just happy to be in a Ford F-150 over there and Ford Mustangs all the way across. But the whole thing is, the mission every day with it is to just leave it a better place. At some point, I probably will move on, and I want to make sure that we leave a mark, but we leave it a better place whenever we leave.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely a great time to be a part of the American Sim Racing Series, the oldest sim racing league still in the iRacing service, going all the way back to 2002. You're closing in on your 20th season, 20th year in operation. So definitely going to be very cool coming up into 2021. But Jim, before we let you go, definitely want to give you an opportunity to speak anything on your mind before you jump on out of here.
I just have to thank my partner in the league, Sam Maxwell, for everything that he does. Between the two of us, it's probably the hours of a full-time job, including hour and a half phone calls on Wednesday and Thursday. And we won't tell my boss about that one. But so it just, he does a lot. Some of the guys don't like, the strikes being issued and all that in the race, but I'm confident between Sam and I that we can make a good call. And like Greg Evans had said here just a little bit ago, he feels that we ran a very fair league this year, and I feel the same way. I'm happy to hear that from a driver in the league. So we're just, like I said, just really happy, really thankful for Sam to be a part of it, and thankful for all our partners. Nick at Hacksaw PCs, he's had a year. I've had a year. It's been a rough 2020 for a lot of us, but you know what? We're going to come into 2021 and we're going to make it the best year that we can.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Jim, we'll let you go. Go enjoy celebrating down there with Greg Evans. And I know you still have, I think, a Grand National Series to wrap up yourself. Looks like you're at 7th place in points. So best of luck in that. And we'll see you in the All-Star race here in a couple of weeks here on 3Y TV.
Yes, thank you guys, and have a good holidays. If I don't talk to you guys at the All-Star race, probably won't be up front there. So have a great holiday season, guys.
Hey, you never know. Well, folks, that was Jim Foose, league owner and organizer here for the American Sim Racing Series. And Greg, why don't we go through tonight's final race results with your series champion taking home the checkered flag?
And it was Greg Evans getting win number 12 on the season to wrap up a championship in the 2020 Hacksaw PC's Premier Series Championship. Brian Yazik finishes second after starting 17th on a provisional. The tires just came up just a little bit too short, finishes second. AJ Digby, Grant Brown, Adam Jersky, playoff driver, finishes second in points, comes home in fifth. Barely holding off John Jenkins into number 7. What an effort Jenkins had all season long to wind up third unofficially in points. Mark Myers, a great recovery for him to finish 7th. Troy Haight, Sam Crow, J.R. Bash with a top 10 to round out the season.
And finishing in the 11th position here tonight, Michael Whiting in the number 44 machine. Good run for him in the Brookside Equipment Sales Chevrolet. Jason Stewart finishing in the 12th position in the number 1. Alan Young, first car not to finish here tonight, that 24 machine late race accident for him. Behind him, Jimmy McKee. He was one of your championship 4 contenders here tonight. He's going to finish the championship in the 4th position overall. He finishes 1 spot in front of Will Warser in the number 29, who did not have a great finish to tonight's event. Jordan Harnish in the number 32 comes home in 16th, which is a big shame after he had a lot of early pace. Alex Giese in the number 77 comes home in 17th. John Van Varellis 18th. Woody Mahan, the Mahan Speed Laboratories number 84, had a good qualifying run last weekend, a lot of pace, at Martinsville. He finishes in 19th. And rounding out your top 20, the number 18, Doug Mullins there, Greg.
And rounding out this 25-car field in the season finale was Pete Baskins in the number 27. Tyler Seville, a great season for him. 3 wins on the year. Unfortunately, the season comes to an end early for him. 22nd on the board. Todd Kirkwood, Michael Krobach, and Clarence Bonner rounded out your 25-car field.
A couple of additional tidbits about tonight's race. Michael Krobach on lap number 8. That was the first caution that he had caused all season long, happening right in the final race. And also, Momentum Sim Racing picks up the Hacksaw PC's Premier Cup Series Teams Championship. Now, there isn't any additional prizes with that one, but a little bit of bragging rights for the Momentum Sim Racing team. So they get a little bit of a kazoo here on 3Y TV. So congratulations to that team. Of course, John Jenkins spearheading the Momentum Sim Racing team this season, and he is going to come home 3rd place in the final point standings. But Greg, been a fantastic season. I'm looking forward to the All-Star race in 2 weeks from tomorrow, Wednesday. In fact, for some of you people, it's already Wednesday, late night here on 3Y TV. I'm looking forward to it. Greg, any final thoughts?
I'm looking forward to Nashville, but what a night here in Arizona. What a race. What a season here for the Hacksaw PC's Premier Series. Unbelievable being a part of it here on 3Y TV. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to be a part of the entire season next year, but looking forward to being a part when I can. But Peter, like you said, Nashville in 2 weeks for the Cup cars. Looking very, very much forward to that one.
I'm very much looking forward to it as well. Big shout out to Hacksaw PCs for sponsoring this season, as well as American Regardless for sponsoring tonight's race. Make sure you check them out. American-made clothing made by a war veteran. Definitely a fantastic group of people to be a part of, and a great sponsor of the 2020 Hacksaw PC's Premier Cup Series season. Surf Pro, Dirty Bird Sim Racing. We got Quick Lane Oil Change. Victory Lane Quick Oil Change. A lot of sponsors here making this series possible. It's getting late, folks. I'm getting kind of sleepy. Big shout out to our friends over at Sim TV for the camera package that we bring you each and every week. But Greg, I think that's going to do it for the season. For myself, Peter Short, Greg Renz, and Carlos Acosta. We'll see you guys next week for more American Sim Racing Series action for the Thursday, 2 weeks for the All-Star race and the Boswell's Country Roads Harley Davidson Thursday Night Throwback Cup Series Championship finale. And until then, see ya!